My name's Alex, and I'm here today with Spencer. What's up, Spencer?
Hey, Alex, I'm Spencer, and I'm excited for today's show. It's another Remember Me episode.
Yeah, we have some bad. We have bad memories, so we like to come on this show and remember games in their entirety. Um, Today I'm dressed up because we are remembering Kirby. I'm just kidding. It's not Kirby. Today we are remembering No More Heroes 2 Desperate Struggle. What if I were dressed up like this for Kirby?
You should just make that your persona from now on. You should just be Travis Touchdown like reviews or talks about video games.
Yeah.
You'll have to
I
change
just
a lot about your personality as well, but I think that's something we should
Yeah, I'll have
we
to
should
get
do.
I'll have to get a haircut. I'll have to change my I'll have to shape my face.
Hmm.
I'll have to. I mean, I already swear quite a bit. You know what I realized the other day? Because I've been doing the Weeb Trash Neptunia streams. I just realized that like I am Travis now. Like I put those are the kind of things that Travis likes. Is
Yeah.
like weeb like that kind of weeb shit.
Hmm.
I just realized I just am him. I am him. Because I think in the first game he's like 30 something, so he's like 37 or something. I forget. There's
Is he
maybe there's
supposed to be
something.
that
Maybe
old?
not. Maybe, no. Sorry, he's like 27 in the first game.
Okay. Okay.
And then I think he's so that means he's like 29 in this game. I think
Okay.
he's 30 something in the new one. 3. But so yeah, it's like I'm 30, so it's like so I just am Travis now. I've just reached that age.
Gotcha.
Living in a motel room,
Let's. I
like a cat.
hopefully you don't check all the boxes. Hopefully there's
Who
a
knows?
few boxes in there unchecked that we can
Come on, Spencer. Why not?
just go all in.
Welcome to today's episode. We are talking about No More Heroes 2 Desperate Struggle, a game released in 2010. Before we get on with the game itself, we have some talking points. Welcome to the Button Mappers. I'm Alex. This is Spencer. Subscribe if you want to see more episodes of the Remember series, where we remember and reminisce on games of the past. Technically, every game is a game of the past.
Yeah, that's a good point. But also on your favorite game, viewers, your favorite games,
Yeah,
we'll remember them. So there you go.
yeah, unless it's like something we don't like, then probably not. But who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? So before we do start, I did want to talk about the fact that if you're jumping into this and you're like, "Why, hey guys, why haven't you remembered No More Heroes 1?" Because this is a new series that we started this last like November. And in the past, we've done map out episodes where we talked about games and mapped them out in their entirety, and we did do No More Heroes 1 at one point a few years ago. So technically, we have covered it. I actually would like to cover it again at some point as a remember episode, but we are jumping straight into 2 because I don't know, it seems logical to us. Spencer.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to hear our views, I mean, I'm sure a lot of our views would be
I don't know.
similar in
I just
would be similar in the map out format. So you if you wanted our views on No More Heroes, you could get it from there, and then we would we'll see about doing if the demand is there. If you're like this, I remember No More Heroes 2, and now I need to remember No More Heroes 1. Then guess what? We'll do it. So there you go. Make your voice heard if that's what you want.
So before we get into the release and stuff, because I know Spencer, you're not as big into these games as I am. Obviously, these are like my favorite games of all time, and these are your first times playing through them, really.
Yeah.
Before we get into the release of 2, maybe just like give me a rundown. Like, what were your thoughts when we did 1? Like, did you like it? Like, what was your overall takeaway?
Yeah. I always try to find the positives in things. Especially for a podcast. I think it's best to remain, try to find the good. and everything. And I think there's a lot of good in No More Heroes. The only problems I tend to have with it aren't necessarily its fault, but this game released on the Wii, probably my least favorite console of all time. I hate motion controls with with a passion, I should say. And granted, these aren't necessarily you can play them without motion controls, but you can tell that it was meant for it. There's moments in the game. I also kind of hate the other part of it, which is like what I used to know these by heart. These gamer phrases, and now I don't remember them. What are they like in a cutscene where you have to hit a button, like time button
Like
presses or
the
something?
quick time events,
Quick time events.
QTEs.
Yeah, QTEs. I don't like those either. Clearly, this was made with the idea that you'd be waggling a thing around, and I can't get behind that. The gameplay itself in these games are a little bit rough for me, because I don't really play beat 'em ups either, and they're mostly like button mapper or button spammer kind of games. But if you just push the gameplay aside, I love that these games have so much character, and it's kind of like playing like I almost would say it's like playing Metal Gear Solid, but instead of it being a stealth game, it's like a action game, I guess, um, and with a slightly different take on parody. Uh, so I like that, and I like seeing what they come up with in the boss fights. Are always very clever. And I think I might disagree with you on certain things about this game, so I'm excited to talk about it and see where we
Oh,
go.
okay.
Just based off
Yeah.
of because I remember when we talked about the first one, and I had my views on the first one, and I think we may have been misaligned there as well a little bit. But then you told me about what you thought about this one, that how it changes, and I disagree. But
Okay.
yeah, let's
That's interesting.
get into
I
it.
mean, and again, I want the audience to know that this is coming from me, who's a longtime Suda 51 fan. I absolutely adore these games and a lot of his other work, obviously, but these games in particular are like my favorite. And then Spencer, who who's really this is fresh for him. So it's like somebody like me who's been seeped into shit for years and is like I overthink all of this, and then Spencer is like a fresh perspective.
Hmm.
So obviously, yeah, we're gonna probably butt heads at some point throughout the episodes.
Hey, don't be a butthead.
Don't be a butthead.
Butthead.
I think you had a good point though, comparing it to like Metal Gear in a way, not in terms of the gameplay or characters or anything really, but just like the way that it's like made by an auteur, right?
Yes.
But I think the difference for me between and I love both of them. Don't get me wrong, but between Suda 51 games and Kojima games is that a Kojima game is oftentimes stupid, but it's played seriously. And a Suda game is oftentimes stupid, and it's played like it's stupid. So it's like they have serious moments, but all in all, it's like most of the time in a Suda game, it's like if you're taking it too seriously, why are you even playing a Suda game at that point?
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
so um, so yeah, let's talk about the release of No More Heroes 2. It did come out in January of 2010, but it was announced in 2008. Now, No More Heroes 1 came out in 2007. It was notable at the time because Grasshopper manufacturers hadn't had a lot of successes at that point. Critical games, like critical darlings, yes. They had like games like The Silver Case and Killer 7, which critically did very well. But in terms of like actual like profitability and like gaining like a wider audience, they did not do well at all. So the first No More Heroes came out, published by Rising Star and Ubisoft here in the U.S. And it it did poorly, very poorly in Japan, which is not uncommon for Suda games. But the difference was that this time around, the game actually sold very well in North America and Europe, which made it like at the time, I don't know if it still is, but at the time it was Grasshopper's, I think, most successful game, most profitable game. I don't think it is anymore. I think that Lollipop Chainsaw game did better, like a few years later, which makes sense because that game was like Suda 51 and James Gunn like teamed up for that game. So yeah, it had a lot of push behind it and like WB. But at the time, No More Heroes was like their most successful project. So we both played it. I think it's fairly obvious if you play the first game that like a sequel wasn't really in the cards at the time. Like they weren't really thinking of like we're gonna make this a franchise. They just made a game, right? And the way the story wraps up the first game and stuff, it just kind of wraps up in a way that where you're like, okay, there's no possible way they can even make a game like to follow it up. But the game did so well that I think they sort of felt like forced into making another game in a way. Like they were like, okay, we can't let this success like slip by, you know.
Hmm.
So that's where Over Heroes 2 came into play. Uh, so here we are.
Yeah, I would be curious if No More Heroes sold as well as it did because it was like the only adult action game on the Wii. I mean, the Wii is just, especially at the time, just loaded with trash, like kitty
Yeah,
trash. And it's so strikingly different. I remember when it came out, that's what people were saying was just like, "Whoa, this game is like, it's on the Wii, but it's violent." Like that was kind of the tagline, and it was just go, "Wow, like it is visually very striking, especially considering what console it's on." I mean, if this were on released on like, I guess the 2007 Xbox 360 was out and PS3 out at that point? It was, right?
yeah,
Maybe just barely.
yeah.
Um I feel like if it were released on those, I don't know if it would have made the same splash. Certainly it's artistically different than what those consoles had to offer as well, but I don't know if it was that contrasted like it was on the Wii, where basically its competition was like Wii Sports and um, Mario Party, whatever.
Mario Galaxy,
Yeah.
like yeah, and that's a fair point. And it's good to note that this series has almost only exclusively sold well on Nintendo platforms. The first game did get a PS3 360 release. It got
Mm,
a PS3 release here in the US. In Japan, it had both 360 and PS3 releases as No More Heroes, Heroes Paradise, or No More Heroes Red Zone, depending on the version you played,
mm,
which was just like an HD version of the first game with some extra bells and whistles. And I do have that version. That version sold like terribly, and
mm.
it like almost went by like it was like a fart in the wind. Like nobody really noticed it, and on those consoles, on those platforms. Except for the fans like me. Like I bought it because I wanted to own it because it's like a weird release.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, it was like, yeah, these games, and I think that still goes to this day. I don't know how the Steam versions of the new, like I think all the games are on Steam now. And I don't know how those versions sell, but I believe like all of the games still, even like three, I think it's still sold best on the Switch than it did like on the PS5 and Xbox. So
Interesting.
it's this the series is like oddly tied to Nintendo,
Yeah.
uh, which is interesting because it's not a Nintendo type game at all.
Travis for Smash?
Yeah, that was a push for a while, and like they felt the need to like Smash Bros. Like Sakurai felt the need to like not like I guess reference it in some way in like the last Smash Ultimate update because they didn't brand No More Heroes as like a crossover, but they branded just Travis as a crossover and made like a me costume of him. So
Hmm.
you can technically make a me that is Travis in Smash Bros. Ultimate because like it with like with the last DLC update, which I think was like Sora, they like everybody was like not everybody, but a lot of the fans were still pushing for Travis, and I think Suda himself has been pushing for Travis for years, and then they were finally like, okay, look, we get it, but we can't put him in, so we'll make him a costume. So they just made a Travis costume. This is kind of funny. Um, so yeah, announced in 2008, and released in 2010. We could talk about some of the development. So when the first game came out, a lot of the it had great critical reception, but a lot of the criticisms the game did face mainly revolved around one big chunk of the game that I think this part of the game has aged poorly in terms of criticism. But it was the first game's open world. A
Hmm.
lot of critics did not like the open world of the first game, and I
Weird.
get it, but I also don't think yeah, I also don't think they understood the intentions of the open world in the first game. I think they most critics tried to compare it to like GTA or
Hmm.
whatever sandbox games were out. And that wasn't really what the open world was in No More Heroes 1 or wanted to be clearly.
Yeah.
Um, so that was a big point of criticism. And early on in this game's development, Suda stated that he wanted to make the open world in No More Heroes 2 better. It
Oh.
turns out that means he just yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened to that because he stated that in like interviews, and then the game came out and there was no open world entirely, which I think kind of hurts this game a little bit. But he just cut the open world out as a whole. So it went from him saying, "Yeah, I want to make it better," to maybe they were just afraid of the critics still not liking it or something, and decided against it altogether or something. I have no clue,
That
but
that is so bizarre. That it's just weird looking like in a window like that, like looking at the history of what critics thought about things. And I guess like I don't was No More Heroes like marketed as an open world action game? I feel like it
no,
wasn't. So
not
it's
really.
it's weird that they're like, okay, well then it better be like GTA. It's like w- that's like why? Like what a silly idea just to go into like a review thinking that. Like, well, it's no one said it was open world, but when I walked outside, you could go anywhere, so it's not GTA. Like it doesn't really, in playing one, it never really emphasized the open world part. It never was like explore this and you go over far that way and go that. It was just like go. That's where you need to go, and then just go there on your little bike.
Well, the great thing, and why I think it's aged in the opposite direction, why I think people really like the open world now, is because it like juxtaposes the violence in the first game. It's like the first game you're trying to climb the assassin's ranking, so you'll pay your entry fee, you'll go and you'll kill a bunch of dudes, and then you'll fight a boss, right? And it's all violent and actiony and fun. It has cool upbeat music, but you're done, and then you have to earn money again to enter the next fight. So it's like you have like these moments of like brevity between these acts of violence where you're just riding around doing shit, doing chores, whatever it is, mowing the grass.
It's kind of like
It's
the
like
movie Drive. Like
yeah.
they have like somewhat relaxing like music scenes of just him driving around, and then he goes and like does an assassination, and then back on the horn. Yeah,
Well, and like I think it worked in the first game for the most part. Like I think it had a nice pace to it, and also just like again, juxtaposing like, oh, you just cut this dude down the middle of his body in half, and then you're mowing the grass, trying to or like picking up coconuts,
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to earn money.
I think it helped flesh out Travis as more of a character, where he's like you understand that he's a normal guy living a normal guy life, except he also on the side is like an assassin climbing ranks, like killing like crazy shit. So like you the mundanity is that a word, mundanity, I don't know,
Mundane,
mundanity
I think it is.
the mundanity, if hopefully that's a word, of it was like it was sobering and helped you understand his character a lot more than I guess we'll talk about too. But yeah, the stripped down, they kind of there are those things in it, but they feel less mundane because now it's just a menu. So now it's not like part of like a normal person society, a normal person, what you think about is, oh, I gotta go to work, I gotta drive over to the look, I gotta drive over to fix the pipes and this stupid thing. I don't really want to do it, but I gotta do it. So you get in your bike and you drive over. You do it. And it's like, by the way, I'm a fucking assassin. I fucking slice people in half. But right now I got to go do this. Whereas they stripped that away, and now it's just like, well, what do I want to do? I guess I could go do pipes. Okay, boop, let's do it. And I think like you're saying, like there's an element of that where it's that makes him a character, and they when you strip that away, you lose a little bit of Travis, and he just becomes like
Yeah.
a mission oriented person.
Well, and it like endears you to the character, right?
Hmm.
Because I mean, yeah, he's like this violent, awful person who just is all about killing. But then, yeah, it's just like whenever you're like on your bike and you're riding around in the first game, and it's like dun, 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 and you're just like riding around, and you're like, I think I'll go to the gym and work out for a little bit. It's like, oh well, you know what? I think maybe I should buy a T-shirt or something. And I don't know. It kind of endears you to the character of like this guy that's like puts on this persona of being a cool dude who's just all about the fight. I
Yeah.
don't know. He's kind of a dweeb, and you kind of like it. you know?
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with like how much time you're spending with him in like the percentage of your time. And in this game, in one, a lot of your time was spent being quiet and just kind of like living his life. Whereas in two, your time is really spent mission focused. And it's
Yeah,
like when if it's too much of the pie is mission focused, I think you'd lose a lot of Travis.
true. And we'll get into that.
Hmm.
So 2010 was when the game released, and I don't really expect you to have like a story for this because this is your first time playing it.
Okay.
Obviously, you didn't play the Wii. It's just like I believe 2010 is probably as far off your radar as possible, right? Um,
See, I was probably playing League of Legends exclusively.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So 2010, or really it was like this is January 2010, so really it was like throughout 2009, really when I was getting hyped for this. Um, the game was being pushed on the Wii. The Wii was my main console at the time. I don't think I got an Xbox 360 until like the following year. So I was playing a lot of stuff on the Wii. And used to back in the day, they had like they had a thing called the Nintendo Channel where they would post like behind the scenes things and little interviews. They were pushing this game hard on
Hmm.
there. They had a lot of like little trailers and a lot of fun things. I remember this one trailer that was literally like a top best things about No More Heroes 2, and it was hosted by Suda, and he was sitting in a stall, like a toilet stall, talking to you about like the best things that they added to No More Heroes 2, and it was very on brand for him.
Mm.
Um, like he's sitting like in this stall. I don't, you probably find it online. He's sitting in this stall on this toilet, and then there's like two girls behind him just standing there. And then he's like talking to you. They like dubbed him over, so he has like a really deep English voice, and he's like, "I'm Suda 51, and this is the top things about No More Heroes or something." I forgot. It's like the things we added in No More Heroes 2: Desperate Struggle, and he was talking about like the gameplay and the whatever, the missions and the jobs and stuff. So the game had a pretty big push from Nintendo themselves, which again is funny because this is like the most anti-Nintendo type game up there. But I think like Nintendo knew that like if they wanted some sort of hardcore like older audience, like this was probably the game to push for them, you know,
Yeah.
on their console. And I was hype. I had just started high school that year. I was very excited, and this was the first game I ever pre-ordered.
Hmm.
Was No More Heroes 2 with my own money. I think I had gotten some in the past, but like with my own money, this was a game that I pre-ordered, and I had my parents take me to go pick up on release day because I was just that excited for this game um, and all the build up. So other than that, there's not much else to say about the release. It came out.
How'd it do?
Yeah, it did well. I can bring up the critical reception. In terms of critical response, the average is around 84 out of 100, which is for a game like this, that's pretty damn good for this niche Japanese like slash 'em up type game.
Hmm.
It's like you look on the scores and it's like they have 8.5 out of 10, 9 out of 10s. I remember when the game came out, a lot of the like early reviews were basically like, if you have a weed, you like action games, you gotta pick this up. Like that was like all the response at the time. Um, I'm not sure. I don't see sales though. It's I think it did worse than the first game overall. Um, let's see. Sales of No More Heroes 2, uh, they were relatively poor, so I don't know what was going on there. I think maybe 2010, until like 2011, like the Wii was starting to slump. Yeah, you know, like I think I think like the Wii hype was dead at that point compared to 2007 when everybody was getting a Wii. So
Yeah,
that probably could have.
VG chart says um under legacy sales history, which this thing won't see. Actually, maybe I'll just do it. I This is gonna fuck up everything, but whatever. It's fucked. Um, it looks like there were 0.4 million total on the Wii sold.
Okay, not terrible, but it looks like they were projecting a lot more, obviously. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but again, honestly, if you follow like Suda and the Grasshopper manufacturers like track record, this is the norm. The game sold, meh, but the critical response was high. So nothing out of the ordinary there in terms of a Suda game.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it goes, baby. You make weird shit, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna make a niche thing, you have to expect niche sales. It's pretty rare that one would break through. I mean, it happens. You would think like Baldur's Gate was kind of niche, but
Yeah.
it took off. But there's and when obviously if it does take off, it's huge because niche doesn't usually get a big budget. So the budget versus sales is usually insane. Um, like Minecraft being
Yeah.
one, you can think
And
of that.
I just saw on Wikipedia it said that it actually sold less than the PS3 360 versions of the first game.
Oh, which you said didn't
Which
sell very
that's
well.
that's yeah, so that's telling you it didn't sell well. And also like I believe they were just like the first game where they remade it in HD for those consoles. I believe they had plans to remake the second game in HD and then didn't do it. They scrapped it.
Mm.
And then they just what they did is in the PS3 version of No More Heroes, which is Heroes Paradise. They have 5 extra fights in that game. Like basically at certain points, whenever you save the game on the toilet, Travis will just fall asleep and then he'll fight like a dream fight. That's a character from two. So they just kind
Oh.
of threw some of that stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like some of the characters from two do just like I think like Nathan Copeland and Alice Twilight, a few other ones like show up in these dream fights and you just kind of do them. And so you still get like a little bit of that in that game, but yeah, that was basically I think they're compromised. They're being like, okay, well we're not gonna do two, so here's some stuff from two. Enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and
All right, so
and I think you were kind of alluding to it, but what do you think? And if assumedly we're going to do other ones in the series, so you don't need to go too into detail. But how do you think No More Heroes 2
just say
rece-
desperate struggle.
yeah, what do you think Desperate Struggles both financial and critical reception did for the series going forward? How do you think that affected it?
It put it to sleep for a pretty
Really?
long time. I
Okay.
mean, after this, okay, so something to also note about this game before we get into the game itself is that yes, Suda was involved with this game. He was the executive producer or something, and he wrote scenarios for the game. But at this time, Suda was in terms of like the gameplay stuff. Suda was kind of hands off with this one. He was working on Shadows of the Damned at this point with
Okay.
Shinji Mikami and stuff. So that was what he was doing, and that's a whole other story. He was getting reamed over by EA with that project. But so at the time, he worked on No More Heroes 2, and you can still call this a Suda game, but in terms of like the entire No More Heroes lineage, this is the one that he's the least attached to out of all of them.
It's like the Dark
And
Souls
that it, it
2.
sh- yeah, 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 and it shows in the sequels, and much like Dark Souls 2, like in terms of all the games, this is the one that people. I think for a while people did herald this one as like the best one, and then I think it was like 2020 after they released them, like the HD versions of one and two. People went back and played them, and a lot of people were like, "What's kind of better?" And they're they were like, "It's kind of better than this one." I think so. It's kind of flipped around a little bit, and I'm definitely I'm going to be critical, but I want everybody to know that like I still love this game, and obviously like it's out of the four games in this series, it's probably my least favorite. But I love all four games though, so it's like it's that's not saying much.
Hmm.
But yeah, we didn't see the series again after this point until 20. I think it was 2017 is when Travis Strikes Again came out. So a good 7 years of no more heroes. Um, yeah, I mean, there's nothing else to really go over with the release. I don't
Sure.
think. I think we're good to the top end, right?
Let's talk about No
All right, where
Mo.
do you want to start? You want to start with No Mo Hero, No Mo Homo Hero. That's a different game.
Yeah.
It's a more gay game.
It's Travis with
um,
two S's.
what? Travis. What do you want to do, Spencer? Do you want to do the? You want to talk about the plot, or do you want to talk about the game itself, like the
Let's set the stage with the plot.
progression of the game?
What's going on? What's going on with Travis?
Sure,
Let's
Spencer.
catch up
I've
with
been
him.
doing a lot of babbling. Why don't you give us the plot?
Okay. Do you want it from the Wikipedia or the wiki? Are they the same?
Uh,
I'll just do it from the wiki.
I
That's
don't
the
know.
fan one.
No, do the
Oh, you want Wikipedia?
yeah. The fan one's better.
Okay, okay. Three,
Yeah, but I would say just do the first line. No, the fan wiki, but just do the first paragraph.
mhm. 3 years have passed since Travis Touchdown became the top assassin in the United Assassins Association and walked away. Now he returns to Santa Destroy and fights Skelter Helter, who seeks revenge on Travis for killing his older brother, Helter Skelter, prior to the first game. After winning the battle, he meets Sylvia Crystal again, who informs him he is now ranked 51st. The dying Skelter interrupts them and warns Travis that he and his co conspirators will still have their revenge.
We can probably go to the next paragraph, right?
The same night, a group of criminals kills Travis's best friend, Bishop, and throw his head through Travis's window in a paper bag. Travis, furious and seeking revenge, asks Sylvia to set up the next fight. Sylvia tells him that the one who ordered his death was Jasper Bat Jr., the CEO of Pizza Bat and first ranked assassin. In the first game, Travis stopped 3 different attempts by Pizza Bat, then localized as Pizza Butt, to expand in Santa Destroy by assassinating the CEO. In the 3 years since, with Travis out of the picture, Pizza Bat successfully opened a headquarters in Santa Destroy and bought out practically every business in town. Travis resolves to climb to the ranks to get a chance for revenge on Jasper.
There we go. That's a good place to stop. um. So yeah, that's the basic plot. Travis is out for revenge. There's a lot of revenge stuff in this game.
Yeah.
A lot of revengeing happening.
I think in terms of general approach, it's obviously different than the first one. Whereas the first one was nihilistic from the get-go, this one clearly is more molded after a form of revenge. Although I would argue it's proven to basically be the same as the first game. But
Yeah.
but it starts out with the idea that it's a revenge story. I don't know that it really carries it through, but the characters also that they get revenge he wants revenge on is like seems seemingly like a nothing character, but I don't remember the first game that well, but and especially like the side characters. Was Bishop like? Wasn't he just a shopkeeper or something?
Yeah, he's a shopkeeper, but I think what endeared him to like not the players, but like what endeared him to the staff and like why he became Travis's best friend was he was the guy that would bring you your bike. So you could push while you're in the map, you can push the button and he goes, "Oh, Travis," and he rides up on the bike and brings it to you.
Mm.
So I guess when there's Travis in the first game. Travis in the first game is literally a guy with nothing, and he starts with nothing, and he also ends with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I think with the second game, they were kind of grasping at some straws to be like, okay, what can we make a story out of?
Yeah.
So that's definitely one of them. They were like, okay, that guy that brought you your bike, that's your best friend. Like,
that was my best friend.
I also like the fact that it's the Pizza Bat Corporation, which in the first game was Pizza Butt. I think they changed it because I don't think they could advertise Pizza Butt very well as opposed to Pizza Bat when doing like the trailers or whatever it was, and being like, I'm just imagining like if like Nintendo Direct was a thing, it'd be like Travis has to climb the rankings to defeat Pizza Butt. It's like, no, it's they probably have to change that. So that's probably why they did it.
In Japan, what was it?
I don't know. I just know in the first game in North America, it was the Pizza Butt Corporation.
Well, I'm just curious.
Would do like those.
I know. I'm just curious if in Japan they had an intention somewhere, like to make it a butt thing, or that was just a completely American idea.
I don't know
for the first game.
I have it.
Okay,
that's a good question. I mean, obviously, it's like a parody of Pizza Hut,
right?
That's the joke. But I don't know. I don't know what it was in Japan.
Because like in Chrono Trigger, there's 3 characters named Ozzy, Flea, and Slash, which you could guess what those are references to. But that was an American thing. In Japan, it was like mayo, soy, and something. They were
mustard
references.
And ketchup, right?
I don't think they were exactly that, but off the top of my head, I don't remember. But they were references to like condiments. And then in America, the localization team, which I think was probably Ted Woosley, just they made him the Ozzy, Flea, and Slash. So I'm curious if in Japan there was some intention that we just completely missed.
I don't know.
I'd be interested if Suda, has anything to say about that. Because
if I could interview him, that's what I would ask him first. It's about Pizza Butt.
About Pizza Butt.
Yeah.
Okay. Pizza Butt. Why your question?
I do like there's threads in this game that I do like with the plot.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, the plot doesn't really matter that much, but the threads that I do like is the fact that in the first game, the reference with Pizza Butt is literally just like those assassination jobs you could pick up to earn some money,
mm-hmm.
and one of them was killing the CEO of Pizza Butt. And then, like, I like the fact that like a side job with a description you might have not even read in the first game, like had such a ripple effect that like it just caused the entire plot of the second game. Right? I don't know. That's kind of funny to me.
That's very your other guy, Yoko Taro.
Yeah.
Maybe he had a hand in this one.
Yeah. So we are going to get into the game and the assassins. So I'm going to save it for a second with talking about Skelter Helter, who you brought up. But I do want to reference the fact that like we're just doing the same shtick again as the first game, and the game's very self-aware about that. I like the fact that it's rank 51 this time. And we're as the first game had a very nice pace, and you're going through like all 10 ranks, and you feel like there's a sense of progression. In the second game, they're like, okay, you're starting at 51. There's really only 15 fights in the game. Like they're jumping around a lot. There's stuff that happens off screen. It's like it doesn't really matter that much in this game.
The funniest moment was when, I think it was your brother or something. Somebody calls in, and is just like, "I killed the other 3 guys," and then he like, and your character is like acknowledging that that's stupid. Like, why would the game just have somebody else do it? He's like, You could at least tell me what they look like. He's like, by the way, they looked like. It's like, how long is this call?
There's pictures on his. Yeah. He left pictures of all. He's like, there's no way you're playing these fights. The game's stuffed full as it is.
Yeah.
That's literally just the developers leapfrogging, being like, okay, we got to get out to the end of the game, so we got to like skip some stuff here.
Yeah, that's
Um,
funny.
I also I think there's a lot of talk in the fandom about like how does the first game and the second game even work? I don't know if you remember the exact ending of the first game, but spoiler alerts for No More Heroes 1 for anybody that wants to play it. No More Heroes 1 ends with Travis finding out that Sylvia was a con artist and the entire UAA was made up, and all of the money he'd made for his entry fees was going to her, and it was all fake and bullshit and nothing mattered. And that was basically the plot of the first game. And she's again, Travis starts with nothing and ends with nothing, and there's no journey. So it begs the question of like, okay, so the second game picks up and like there's a UAA and Sylvia's back, and they even reference this. Travis is like, why don't you explain what happened since the first, like the 3 years since the first game? And Sylvia's like, please, there's people starting from the sequel who don't care about continuity, and that's basically the team. I think to me that's always basically been like the team being like shut up. Like if you're playing this, if you're playing No More Heroes for the continuity and the overall like the overarching story, shut up. Like it doesn't. No, like, you're playing it for the wrong reasons.
I I have issues with that. Just
Yeah,
that idea. Because I mean, yeah, you probably shouldn't be playing this for the story. Like I agree with that conceptually. But also there's an awful lot of cutscenes in this game.
mm,
And I would almost argue that this game is primarily played for those cutscenes. Um, yeah, there's combat. You hit X a bunch of times until the guy dies, but then a cutscene happens, and that's when like all the characters come out and do their thing. And it's I don't know. There's especially towards the latter third of the game, I would say. Um, Understanding some of those dynamics is key to it. And if you're completely ignoring it like constantly, I guess coming from an RPG perspective, I don't like the idea that the story doesn't matter at all.
mhm.
And I think if you're trying to tell a story, even if it's silly, and you lose some of those big details, it's just very disruptive to me. I think there's a way you could do it where it's still
I
funny,
didn't say
and
the
it
story
and
doesn't.
it yeah, I think you could, there's a way to do it where it's still funny and still goofy, but also it isn't like the ending of the first game just didn't happen. 'Cause it's like, yeah, I don't know. That's just my opinion.
I I think what happened was obviously they didn't plan for a sequel, and they were like, well, we got to make a sequel. And we want to make a sequel, so how do we bridge that gap? And I think instead of trying to come up with some kind of convoluted narrative, like in a lot of ways I think that is the correct approach, is to just be like, okay, like make up your own reason, right? Like make up your own thing. Like it doesn't matter, we're here, we're doing it. And that's sort of what he I think it's what Suda does with a lot of the sequels he's made, which isn't many. He doesn't do sequels very often.
Hmm.
Is that like he likes to mess with the continuity and be like, well, this time it's this. Like in the spoiler alert for Spencer, if you ever get to play three, in three, your cat Jean is your guide, and like Navi, and she talks, but it's a he, and he has a very deep black man voice. And it's like, where did that come from? And he's literally been like, are you tweaking? I've always sounded like this. And it's like, it's just kind of there. It's again, it's just kind of, I
See,
think it's just kind of
I'm okay with
Suda's
that.
thing.
I don't think there's any problem with that. It's just like it. I feel like there's more creative ways to be stupid. I think than like
There is a
anybody can
so
just be like, uh, yeah, the last game just didn't happen. And you go, okay, well that's
well,
lazy.
the last game clearly did happen because they call back to it at points.
Okay, but
Um,
literally the ending is
the
not
ending, I think, it's what the biggest issue, right?
okay. But
It's like,
why would anything happen in the past if the ending, the most important part, just didn't
yeah,
happen?
well, I think they've sort of worked to retcon it a little bit, And in this game, they do reference in the opening. They do reference that like there's more assassins now because the first game's success made assassination trendy. So it's like, and then they also talk about it being like a spectator sport now.
Mhm.
In the and I think it's in Strikes Again. They reference how apparently in the first game they were streaming the fights to like the dark web for people to watch. So my headcanon personally for this game and why like how you could possibly bridge the ending of the first game to this game is that yes it was a scam, but since like the fights got so popular through whatever spectator sport it was set up, online, it became an actual thing.
Mhm.
And now there's like a lot of assassins. They're all very superficial now, and there's a lot of them. And Sylvia's back, and it's like the association actually does exist now because of that. That's always been like what I've thought, you know.
And I think that's a good story.
Uh,
I think that's not a bad idea. But like it's an idea like
yeah,
that could have been a cleverly stupid way to get this going instead of just completely ignoring that. But we're probably spending too much time on
Mhm.
this, so
Yeah,
whatever.
it's fine. It's fine. Again, if you're looking for the deep intricacies of the No More Heroes plots, shut up. Just enjoy it, man.
Yeah.
All right, so you want to I guess we'll just go down the list. So there's not, but I guess before we get into the assassins and the fights, we could talk about the changes. So obviously we've brought it up before. The open world is completely gone. It's replaced by a menu, um, which I think it's a, at the time I was fine with it when the game first came out because I was
Hmm.
like, oh okay, no open world, okay, that's fine. But now in the context of like playing No More Heroes 3 and No More Heroes 3 has an open world, it's like it stands out like a sore thumb, being like the one that doesn't do it. Being like, okay. Um, but within that, you still get an overview of Santa Destroy and the locations you can travel to, and you could still do jobs. You could still go to the gym. You could still do assassination things. Not really assassination missions. They're called revenge missions now, where you're trying to kill the hired guns who killed Bishop. Um, and it's all still there. The stuff you could do in the first game is technically still there. It's just a lot of it looks very different. In the first game, when he did jobs, it was like literally Travis in whatever he's at the beach collecting coconuts or whatever, and he's like running around like picking up coconuts and taking them to a guy. In this game, all the jobs have been replaced by like NES style games.
Not
So
all
it's
of
like in
them.
this one, not all of them, but most of them. I think that one's a joke, but most of them have been replaced by NES games.
The worst
Um,
one they kept, right?
yeah, okay. So the worst job from the first game, they just kept as the same thing, and I think that was the joke.
Yeah. I think you're right.
It's like nobody liked
The
that one.
joke was on me,
Uh,
yeah.
but so like in this one, instead of Travis running around the beach collecting coconuts and being kind of mundane, now it's like a game where it's a 2D platformer where he's running and collecting coconuts and having to catch them from a palm tree and just going jumping over crabs and stuff. So I think it's cute how they did the jobs. I think there's value in some of them. They're definitely kind of funny and like kind of replayable.
I liked it. I actually
Yeah.
there were some that I actually enjoyed.
Yeah.
Um Specifically the pipe one. I did that one multiple times.
Oh, but yeah, the pipe one is good.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of clever gameplay in it because you would think like it'd be easiest to work backwards, but they don't let you because the water has to keep flowing. So you have to start at the beginning, which is clever. You kind of have to think in two different ends of it. Um, oh my god, the coconut one I would toss in the fire.
There's
Um,
there's an issue. There's an issue with okay, so the coconut one and the Wii version, it was a lot slower. Apparently, when
oh, that makes
when
sense.
when Engine Software ported it, they didn't something to do with the frame rate, where they upped the frame rate. It fucked with the coconut game.
Okay, yeah,
They
that
didn't
one is
fix it.
like scary on
No,
play.
that one's basically impossible in the HD versions of two, and they didn't update it. I don't know why.
I will
It's a
say,
known issue now.
speaking of ports, I played this on Steam and it crashed twice. So
Ooh, Yeah, I had that issue with 1. I had to return my version of 1 for Steam because it kept crashing on me.
Oh
Well,
boy.
yeah. So I guess engine software, guys, what's going on
And
there?
couldn't play it on my Steam Deck either.
Ooh, really?
Hmm.
Damn,
So I
that
had to just
sucks.
sit right here and play it.
You might as well just got it on the Switch or something.
Yeah, well, obviously I got it on sale at some point on here, but yeah, yeah, it was rough.
Um, the jobs are a lot of fun. Those I find myself going back to sometimes, just because like the pipe ones feel good. I like the pizza delivery one where you're riding your bike down the highway.
Mm.
That one's a lot of fun. My favorite one though. Do you want to guess what my favorite one is?
Exterminator.
Nah, it's Man the Meat. The steak one. I love that one so much. It's just the stupidest game. It's just literally this. It's the same fat black guy coming in and going like telling you how to make a steak. So he's like medium, and then you just sit there and cook the steak for a minute, and he goes delicious. Or like if he hates it, he goes that's disgusting, and he throws his fork at your face. I don't know why that game is so fucking funny to me. Like I fucking like. There's a lot of times whenever like I was younger and like I wanted to get like all the clothing or whatever in the game. So like I would want to grind for money. A lot of times I would just play Man the Meat over and over again because I don't know why that game it just never gets funny and like I still say medium just like that guy.
Medium.
Medium. You know, and like you were talking about like the character being gone, there's still a little bit of that in State of Destroy. Whenever you do the jobs, you meet up with the guy that's hiring you for the jobs. It's always the same guy.
Mhm.
And he like tells you about like what's going on. Like I think the steak one, there's like mad cow disease is going on or something. I don't know, I forget what's happening. But you know, they like give you a little rundown of like the goings on in the city
Yeah.
and stuff. So there's a little bit of that.
He said something to me when I just quit the Scorpion one. Like I just resigned or whatever. And he said something to me that actually made me laugh out loud. It was like, my hate for you is, I don't remember exactly. It was like, I hate you more than hate or something like that. And I was like, just like, whoa. That was that was
That's so funny.
that was uncalled for. But yeah, it was just like the extremity of what she said. And his face obviously wasn't animated in like an angry way. It was just like this blank
Yeah,
face.
yeah, yeah. He always has his like arms crossed like this,
Yeah.
right? And he's
Yeah,
always
he's just
just like
like
standing there.
my hate for you is exceeds hate or something. It was something like it's absurd. And I was like, wow, ouch. Okay. Sorry. Um but yeah, no, like those are fine, and the side shit you can do is, again, it's familiar, but it's more of just a menu. It kind of feels like what we talked about Atlas games. It just kind of feels like that, where it's just like you want to go upgrade your or get a new sword, go here, click on it, and then you do it.
So you know, obviously there's less of a reason to explore these things now because they got rid of the entry fees for the fights.
Mhm.
And that's why I'm like, how do you feel about that as like a part of the gameplay now? Because I think that definitely went along with them cutting the open world was them being like, okay, so now you can just go fight to fight. Like,
To me, it felt more like a pure like assassin game, and I don't know. There's benefits and there's detractions to it. Like we talked about it earlier, but I feel like I don't really know Travis as well in this game. Um, and but from another perspective, I thought that they also, at least from what I could tell, they incentivized side stuff a lot less because of it. Like I got the $300,000 sword. Was there one after it? I don't even remember. I don't. Was there
I
one?
think there's two you can get. There's 4 swords total.
Yeah, I had all 4 swords in my collection at the end.
Okay.
But I
Okay.
only
You get
bought
all.
2 swords, and I feel
Yeah,
like in the
there's
first
one
one
they
there was,
give you during this.
yeah,
There's well in the first game you could not only would you get swords, but you would get parts too that would like
yeah,
upgrade the swords. So like in the first game, it was like by the end you had the Subaki, which was the green one,
hmm,
and then you could get like infinite battery, so you had to recharge it more. And it was like that was like the most expensive thing, but like you know you had to work for that.
yeah. I felt like the game loses something when it takes that away. And I know it's superfluous. Like it's not like it's a long RPG where you're supposed to care about that stuff. But I like that stuff. I play RPGs. I like progression. And losing that was disappointing. But it also let me know that it probably wasn't that important. So I didn't
No.
really focus on it.
But there's still stuff to do. We mentioned the jobs. There are revenge missions. There's 10 of them. They take the place of the like the assassin jobs in the first game, where you're just trying to kill the dudes who killed Bishop, and they're fine. I think they're just there to give you some more action. The only thing you get for doing it is if you beat all 10, you unlock the ability to take off your jacket. So Travis can
Nice.
just work a t-shirt. Yeah. um, and then some of the other side content, if you go into Travis's motel room, you can read Backdrop Weekly and learn new wrestling moves between ranks. And also, your cat's overweight. Gene got fat, so you can work out Gene between each ranking and help her slim down.
I did not spend any
Very.
time with the cat.
Come on, Spencer. The cat's fat now. Don't you want to help the cat?
No. I don't like animals.
Well, the cat was fat, and you had to like play with it. You had to like do different things. He would like So do you remember the first game when you go to the gym and you'd work out and you had to
Hmm.
like do like the squats or like the whatever the weights and stuff. And this one that kind of takes its place. So like you know how in the first game you would like mash the A button and Travis would like lift the weight. And this one you mash the A button and Travis would like lift his cat. Um,
Be
or
so
like he gives the cat a massage by like following following the QTEs or like he'll like you'll do one game where he's like lowering like a cat toy then raising it so she'll jump really high
yeah.
and stuff trying to get her to work out. So it's like I don't know why it's so funny to me that like they were like, okay, the gym is just an 8-bit game now because the gym is still here, so we're gonna move that stuff over to the cat. What else can you do? You could buy swords. You could buy clothes. That's still here. You can go to the gym. Yeah. All right. That's it. That's what you got to do besides the main game. Oh no, actually, I lied. In Travis's motel room, you can. So Travis is obsessed with a fucking weeb ass anime thing called Bizarre Jelly, and you can watch the intro for the show for the fictional show he likes, and you can also play a shmup game on his TV,
Oh, I
like a
didn't know
short little
that.
shoot 'em up game.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can actually play it like so. Yeah, so they actually made the weird anime thing he likes like an actual thing you could look at and be like, this is what he likes, and it's yes, it's exactly what you think it is. So so let's get into the game. So the most logical way to do this, and we don't have to spend all day on each character or anything, but the most logical way to do this is to just kind of go down, talk about each of the encounters, characters, whatever it is, the levels, and go from there. Um, so you mentioned the first one. The game opens with a fight with Skelter Helter, who is the brother of Helter Skelter, who Travis technically killed in the first game in the prologue cutscene. Which is funny to me because I love the fact that when the fight starts, Travis doesn't remember his brother, and that's because us as the player never fought that fight. We just saw it in the
Oh,
cutscene.
okay.
So it's like so he's like, I'll get revenge on my brother. Draw, and he's like, who? It's kind of funny.
Yeah, that's clever.
um, yeah. I think it's a fun tutorial fight, right? I think it kind of teaches you the goings on the game.
Yeah.
The gameplay hasn't changed that much.
No, it doesn't seem like it. Could you turn into a lion in the or
They
tiger or
add
whatever in
they
the first one?
no. I was wondering when that was going to come up. No. So the first game had the slot machine thing where you could kill people, then you get a slot machine and you get a power up. And this game has that, but obviously, like they changed the power up, so one of them you can turn into a tiger and maul people. Is a thing. So yeah, during this fight, you learn like the basics of the game. It still plays the same. They added a few elements. They added the ecstasy gauge, which is a tiger in the bottom corner. That if you go long enough without getting hit, you can get like a power up and go super fast and kill people. And then but you still have to recharge your swords, and your little sword icon this time is a little dick. And it's everything else is basically the same with the gameplay. You kill somebody, you get a little power up, whatever. Um, this fight isn't really a fight; it's a tutorial, but I think it is still like it's a cool fight, like in terms of like the setting and the theme. And I also like the fact that like it also introduces the other half of the story, which is the Sylvia stuff. Like Sylvia kind of narrates a lot of this game and like what happens in Santa Destroy, and it kind of Sylvia kind of tells you about each of the assassins, which I think is interesting. In the first game, when you would encounter like an assassin, the assassins themselves would kind of tell you about them. Like when you met Doctor Peace at the baseball stadium in the first game, he like told you
Yeah.
about like his daughter and like how he went to dinner that night and whatever it was. In this game, like Sylvia kind of takes that role, right? She
Yeah,
kind of
it felt more like a pulp movie kind of situation where,
yeah.
it and obviously she's scantily clad. Um, was there? Am I crazy, or was there like a lot more female stuff in this one than the
Oh, it was
first one?
jiggling. There was a lot more jiggling going on.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not crazy. I'm like, I know the first one had
No,
plenty
there's a
of it,
lot more,
but
a lot
this,
more jiggling action going on in this
I'm like,
game.
this one feels like there's a lot more of it going. And I got a good sense about that kind of thing. I can tell. Okay, then I'm not crazy. Good. Yeah. She would like introduce, and she would do it in like a cool way, like he's dangerous and yada yada yada, blah blah blah, and then it would just lead into it. I thought it was weird at first, but I got used to it. It's cool.
Yeah, I think I think it. I don't know if it works, but I think it is kind of cool that like. Well, the game itself clearly doesn't care about these new assassins. Again, a lot of them I think are very superficial,
Hmm.
but I think it is nice that like we still get to learn something about these characters in some way, because
Yeah,
like that is part of what made the first game interesting is the encounters and like being like, I wonder who the hell I'm gonna meet next, you know? Like I wonder who the next guy is gonna be.
yeah.
I mean, like these great eccentric people. Um, all right, so let's start going to the list. You kill Helter Skelter. We talked about that. He vows revenge and whatever. Um, so then Travis's climb up the ranks really starts there, and we go on to our next fight with Nathan Copeland. Nathan Copeland was apparently like a rapper and a cult leader and like a part of the Irish mafia or something. Yeah, he's like a rapper dude. He's got a boombox. He's got robot arms. He's got a hotel room with traps,
so
booby traps.
so some of these fights I was spoiled to because I edited that video of yours a while ago.
Yeah, this is one of them, right?
Yeah, yeah. He grabs
Yeah.
his girls and throws them at you.
That's still one of the most like even as the series has gone on now, I've seen people online still be like, why did they do that? Like was him and Travis like cut these two like women in pieces?
Why not? What do you mean? Why would they do
Guess
that?
why not? I don't know. I guess why not? But like it's just like I don't know. It's just like this poor women just hanging out with this rapper. And then, like this guy, this like nerd busts in with a laser sword, and then like they just get thrown at him and they slice into pieces. And
Yeah,
it's like what?
yeah. He
I feel
clearly
bad
didn't
for
have to do that, but
he didn't have to. They could have just like excused them from the room or
yeah.
something, and been like, "Sorry, ladies, I gotta fight this dude." No, he just like threw him.
This is
All
very
right.
funny. Yeah.
um, I think this is an overall okay fight. I do like I think it's pretty good. It can be annoying because again, there's booby traps all over the room. Um, so it's like throughout the fight, he will start activating them. So like pots will start blowing up and lasers will shoot out the walls and the floor will start moving. And by the end, you're just dealing with like a smorgasbord of 100 things happening at once while you're
Mm.
trying to fight them. Um, I think it's decent. Um, in terms of like the plot, you find out, and you kind of find out in like a little prologue, voiced by Colonel Campbell. Did you hear him? The little
No,
thing
I
where he's
didn't
talking
tie
about
those
like,
together. Interesting.
really, that's the guy. That's the voice actor when he's like doing the little intro where it's like, much has happened in Santa Destroy. It's like doing whatever. That's him. Anyway, so we did find out that like Travis is kind of a legend now because of the events of the first game. Like he climbed to the top and then left. So there's a lot of like assassins now that like idolize him, um, which I think's interesting. But I also think it in some aspects it ruins the character of Travis in some ways. Because like what made Travis work in the first game was the fact that he basically even when Travis was winning, in basically every single encounter Travis had in the first game, somebody got the upper hand on him. Somebody made him look like a dipshit. Like it was like they either tricked him into a trap, or they would tell like Dr. Peace told him like he spent his entry fee on a nice dinner with his daughter, or it's like every character basically had like a one up. Like even Batgirl, like he impaled her and then she like made him tell her that she won the fight, and then she died. It's like there's she like almost beat him to death at the bat. It's like there's always some like even when he wins, there was always some like joke. Like Travis was always made to look like a fool, right?
Hmm.
So in this game, it's kind of I get like maybe he's more experienced or whatever. It's 3 years, but like in this game, it's at some points I think like the development team forgot that and I think became fans of Travis himself at some points because there's
Oh,
not a lot of times where Travis gets fucked with,
I think the confusion about Travis and perhaps the entire world was rampant in this game.
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
could argue it's I again, like you reference, like, if you're here for the story, what are you doing? But I mean, you're the one they're not but speaking to the developers or whatever, you're the one telling the story. So like, what are you
yeah.
doing? If we're not supposed to
Sure.
care, what are you doing? Like, it's I don't yeah, it's weird to hear them be like, well, we look up to you now because like you walked away and you did this. It's like, so we respect Travis? And it's like, and sometimes they're like, hell no, of course not. That's stupid. And other times, yes. I don't know. It's very. You're right.
Yeah,
It's weird. I don't know if they're all on the
I
same
think that
page.
yeah, I think the developers wanted to like portray Travis as being more of a cool character, but the problem to me is that if you start portraying Travis himself as a cool character, you completely miss the entire point of the character, right?
Yeah.
It's like Travis works because he thinks he's the cool character, and he's not.
I don't know. Do you really think Travis thinks he's cool?
I think Travis thinks he's like I think Travis thinks he's Dante from Devil May Cry, Like that's always been like what I think. Like he looks the part, he has the sword, he kind of like I think he thinks he's like the cool action hero.
Okay.
And he's not. He's a doofus. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. I think you
they
might be right.
still do it in this game sometimes, but there's some other points like here where it's like, yeah, I think some of the developers were like, well, maybe he is kind of cool.
You
Maybe
think
he
you
is.
think the developers became a fan?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I think. I think they were like, well, now we got to make him a little cool. It's like, well,
Yeah.
he's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
Uh, but so yeah, the fight with Nathan's all right. You cut him in half. Sure.
It's a bit of a trend, but yeah, cut him in half.
He says deliverance, so that you slice him in the stomach. Oh yeah, oh no, you know what I do want to mention? I love the added cutscenes now after the fights that go and it says like whoever's dead.
Yeah,
I don't know, it's like stylistically that's cool.
it is.
You want to move on?
Move on.
We're moving on. We're moving on up. I should have mentioned we're still like going around Santa Destroy for most of these fights. So the first one was in a hotel building. The next one we are going to a college because Sylvia told us that we are fighting Charlie and his groupies. We are going to meet up with Charlie McDonald. So you meet up with this football player on a football field, surrounded by cheerleaders. Spencer, at this point, what did you think was going to happen?
Definitely not what did happen. Um, I thought it was just gonna be, like a fight in the football field. Maybe like he throws footballs at you, or I don't know. The cheerleaders do their thing. A big mech fight was not in the cards for what for what I was planning.
Yeah, he just got, yeah. He's like, don't we need like a better stadium or something? I forget what he says, and he's like, come on, ladies, and they all fly up into space and form a football mech named the Santa Death Parade. And then my favorite response, this is like one of my favorite parts of the game. My favorite response is Travis goes, I think something, sorry, I thought something like this might happen. He busts out his own mech.
That's great.
It's like, yeah, he had this plan. Also, just like little details. I like the fact that like when it shows his mech launch, it launches out of the pool at Death Metal's estate from the first game, the first guy you killed. So it's like the pool by his old mansion. That's where Travis like
Oh,
stored his new mech, and it like flew out of the pool. And I was like, "That's weird and cool." I was like,
yeah,
I
random.
guess he had access to that. Yeah. I also like the fact that he's like busted out the toy that Naomi made. I'm like, you're talking about the big tit scientist? Like she built this mech?
Yeah.
She just built a mech? Alright. Like I get that she builds like laser swords, right? Like that's her thing. But she built you a giant mech? What the fuck? I don't know. It's stupid and it's on brand, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. It's memorable, if nothing else. It's
Yeah. What do you think about the fight itself?
like a side scroller um,
Yeah.
mech fight. I don't know. It wasn't. It was fine. Pretty.
Yeah,
I think with this game, I think one of the problems I encountered was that the animations were very long. Um, and it's like, man, just one attack. You have to like you attack, and then your character like pulls back, and then almost like takes a breath. Like, whew. It's like if you make one like mistake, it's not like it's hard, but like you'll just lose that
yeah.
trade. And this was actually like right at the end of this fight is when I got the first crash. So I had to do this
Oh,
fight again, which this fight wasn't that hard, but like um I learned, I was like, "Oh, okay, so like he'll block and then you jump, attack." Okay. And it just became, once you like understand the patterns, it's not quite like Dark Souls or Elden Ring where it's like there's like the nuances and stuff. They're pretty like one dimensional, which I think is by
yeah, it's
purpose
true.
because they make them all so different that it's not like they could really go crazy with all the different fights. Um,
I think there's a theme with the assassins in this game. Although the assassins are just kind of based after like things in media. So it's like the first one, obviously Nathan Copeland was like a rapper, and he had like a cult following and stuff. And this one is like a football player, so obviously like the fight has to be like, at like bigger than the world, whatever, because he's a football player. So it's like sports, sports are kind of seen like that too, right? So I think that was kind of the intention with like the idea behind the fight was like having like this larger than life fight with a football star.
do you really think that?
um,
Do you,
I do. There is some other stuff too that kind of like some of the assassins. I'm like, I don't really know what they're going for that
you
for
don't
there,
think
but
you
I
don't
think
think
some
it
of them
was
are like,
you don't think it was completely random?
no, yes and no. I think they wanted to find an excuse to put a mech fight in here, obviously. So they were like, well, we gotta come up with something. But the fact that he's a football player, right, and then it turns into a mech, like they could have had just Travis fight a scientist dude or something.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have been funny. I think there isn't like a really like
You think it's
logical
just like out of
tie.
left?
Yeah,
I just like it like out of left field, just like nothing.
yeah. So like,
You're
wouldn't it be
just like,
funny if we
wouldn't it
went
be
in a fight?
random?
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, it's a fun fight. I like the music in the background. It's like dur, 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 dur. It's stupid. So you kill him and you throw him into space and you blow up the mech. I like the chant that the cheerleaders say before they die. They go 2, 4, 6, 8. Who can we decapitate? And then
Yeah.
Travis shoots a giant laser at him and blows him up. And also this, I think this fight shows the intentions of like the ranking system not meaning shit in this game because this is the second fight, and you are down to being ranked 25th. So it's like, well, because like when you first hear 51, you're like, damn, that's a lot of assassins. You know, then two
Totally,
fights in, you're already halfway through the rank.
totally off topic, and I won't stay here very long. But in Metaphor Refantasio, Fried on Tanzio,
Yeah,
um,
Friday Night.
you get like there's a ranking system because you're vying. It's complicated, obviously, but you're vying to be king, and they decide that the person that is the most accepted by the world will become the king, and so that's everybody's ranked, and you start out at like 5,000, and then like so you think like, oh well, it is an Atlas RPG, so it's probably going to be 100 hours long. So I'll just be climbing this rank. Literally, like the first thing you do, it's like, all right, you completed this mission. Here's you rose 2,500 points in the rank, and it's like it just goes. Oh,
Kind of the same thing, yeah.
so yeah, it's funny when
It's kind of, it's kind of
I was literally playing this and it was like the same, yeah, like the same thing happened. I was like, oh, 51. Oh, I'm like 20th now or whatever it was. I was like, oh, okay, never mind.
does a sexy French lady offer you sex though if you win?
There is a sexy French lady, but no, there is none of that
Oh,
to my knowledge.
okay.
Even no matter how much I
I think
want there to be.
sexy French lady.
Yeah.
Well, guess what this game has? All right. After that, we learn about the again we're still having these cutscenes with Sylvia telling us about the characters and Santa to Destroy and stuff. We learn about these things. It's what we call the Akashic points, which are like portals to like another war. Like I don't know what they call them exactly. They're like a weird Twilight Zone type world or something. I don't know. It's like bizarre. Like basically, you find a portal somewhere and say to destroy, which would have been cool if they had the open world still to find the Akashic points. If they were like if they didn't tell you exactly where they were or something,
Mhm.
you had to go find them. Like that would have been neat. But here it's just kind of like I think it's just an excuse for them to be like, okay, well we want to do a horror level. How do we do that? Where? It's like, well, it's nowhere because it's an Akashic point.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
whatever. I don't think too much into it.
it's fine. So we're gonna fight Matt Helms, who is based after slasher movies, and we do have a little, all these levels. We have like a little level leading up to it, basically, where you just run around whatever the place is and slash up some dudes. It's basic No More Heroes fare. But I don't really feel we need to talk about them unless they really stand out. But this one is like going through like a spooky forest and a graveyard until you get to the house. So it kind of sets the tone, you know.
I think swing and a miss on this one. I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think it was over the top enough. It was just kind of like muted to me. It was like, oh, here Matt Helms, he's in this house, and it was just like a fight, and he's visually obviously striking. Just looks like a Cuphead character, but just wasn't a lot to it. And it was like, here's his story. I'm like, again, do you want me to care about these characters or don't you? Like, what's the deal?
yeah,
What's going on? Because
yeah.
yeah,
That's a lot of the criticism with this game too. Is that a lot of the assassins just aren't as memorable as the guys in the first game.
Hmm.
Like I could basically mention any of the characters in the first game, and I bet you could tell me something about them, right?
Or remember
Like something
something
about like
from the
their
fight or something.
yeah. Like let me just bring up one. Like, do you remember the magician guy? Remember?
Magician guy?
Yeah. Do you remember him?
No.
You don't. Okay, well then I can't bring up any of them. Failed. Mission failed. All right. What about Holly Summers? You remember Holly Summers, the girl
I
on the
reckon.
beach?
Yes, the was that with the mines and
Yeah,
grenades or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Remember her? Yeah,
Hmm.
it's like so like she had like her own personality, and she had like a they had a pretty long little bit of dialogue before the fight, where they talked about like the
Was
meaning of
very
death and
like
stuff.
what I referenced earlier, very Metal Gear Solid, where like you get to
Yeah,
know the guy that you're about to kill through them
yeah,
talking, and this one obviously it was more you got told ahead of time, but this one was a little different, and it was just I don't know, it's just I saw what they were doing, like what if it was this but a horror movie. I just don't think I really felt the horror movie that much. Like the house was kind of creepy, but
uh,
it just played like a hack and slash like the other one. So I just hacked my way through it, and that was it.
yeah. Do you wish they like changed the gameplay up
Yeah,
or something?
something.
Now, I mean, I believe Matt's the only fight that he can actually like break walls and bust through walls and stuff. So I guess that is kind of plays into it a little bit, but it's not noticeable because the fight's over in no time.
Right,
He's pretty easy.
right.
But yeah, it would have been cool if they did something where like you had to hide from them or something. Kind of like like a horror game. Like I think Resident Evil 2, the remake we played with Mr. X following you around.
Yeah.
Think something like that where you
What
couldn't just
if
full on attack them. Like you had to find a way to get the upper hand.
what if we
You know?
turned it on its head and like how they have the lead up to the boss fight, which is fighting people for some reason. I don't know why they were there,
Yeah.
but fighting people, and then you fight the boss. What if the boss is the entire stretch of that journey? He just kind of
Yeah.
like pops in, pops out. You beat him up, he leaves, kind of comes in. Yeah, I know why they didn't do that. I can see how the game's coded, but I something like that would be appreciated. Some kind of change of pace.
I I did it for I did enjoy the fact that after you blow up Matt Helm's head, you he like comes back as like a little ghost boy, and I like the fact that like he's just a naked kid in this creepy house, and Travis is like, "Huh? What are you doing here?" or whatever, and then he's like whispering, he's like, "I'm gonna kill you," and Travis is like, "What's that?" and then he like raises an axe about to kill him, and then Sylvia has to like shoot the ghost kid. I don't know why that's so, that see those moments are like what I like Travis for because he's obviously still like an idiot, you know.
Yeah.
It's like this obviously like it's just fucking ghost kid that's gonna murder him, and Travis is like, "Huh? What did you say?"
Yeah.
it's like that was a funny moment.
Hmm.
um, all right, moving on. Speaking of Metal Gear, we are moving on to Chloe Walsh, who is held in a high security prison. I feel like this was their attempt at a Metal Gear stealth game, and it's not a good one, but it's here.
I tried being stealthy through part of it, and then I got caught by one of the lights, and then I just hacked my way through it. There wasn't any. The problem
I
is
mean,
if you offer no reward for playing, like as a game designer, you have to offer reward, like okay, or punishment, either or. But this game offered none of it. It was like it's gonna be a stealth until
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
fail, and then it's what like did I lose? No, you just keep going. Like we don't care. Like okay, well, why did you do
Well,
it?
yeah, I do wish they kind of punished you for getting caught, but at the same time it's on brand for the character to just be like, all right, I'm just gonna slice up some dudes, and then he pulls out a sword, right? So
I
I think that's what they were going for in some way.
I would almost go more meta than that and say it's on brand for the series. To say like,
Yeah.
what if we had a stealth mission and we literally didn't care? and so I kind of see it as that. I don't love that philosophy, but I accept that that's what this series is. So I kind of
Yeah.
got that where it's like, wouldn't it be fun if we had like cool if we had a stealth mission and it didn't matter, you could still just it like you could just hack and slash because who cares? And it's like, yeah, I guess it kind of is, but it's like this game.
Uh,
I think this game more than any that I've ever played is more of like a balancing act where it's like a tightrope of like good game design versus isn't it funny? And it's like it
yeah, isn't
really
it funny?
walks that line. And I think it does it well, but there's just moments where you have to shut your brain off of like this is kind of dumb because it's like, well, they probably meant that. So
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. There's moments where you have to remind yourself you're playing No More Heroes too.
Yeah. I don't think it has to be that way, but
um.
yes,
All
you
right.
do
I mean,
correct.
it's a fine. It doesn't. And I think honestly, I think you'll appreciate the sequels more because I think they're better about that, about incorporating elements and still kind of being like, well, wouldn't it be funny but also like engaging,
Yeah, that
um
second part is
yeah.
I like
I think that the sequels on the Switch do a better job at that,
okay,
honestly.
cool.
um yeah. So but whatever, you get to the prison. You free Chloe Walsh, who's in maximum security, and then you have a little fight. And she's wearing basically nothing. She has like nets, like fishnet clothes. She looks like she would be in like a Smashing Pumpkins music video or something.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the fight's over. The fight's fine. She can poison you, and you stumble around for a minute, and yeah, it's okay. It's a fine fight. I don't know. Not much to say about it.
Yeah, no, I had
Travis.
it was like in a circular room, I think. Wasn't it?
Yeah, there's a gratuitous cutscene where Travis slices her into pieces and her ass jiggles. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, that was funny. I was laughing at that.
He's like slicing her up, and her ass is just jiggling around the
Yeah.
camera. I don't know. it's like sexy, and then she falls to pieces. It's like, oh well, okay. Also, there's a funny. See, this is one of the few moments where they actually shit on Travis, like they did the entirety of the first game, because there's like the prison's gonna blow up, and Sylvia's like, "Come on, get in the helicopter," and then like it blows up, and then
Yeah.
Sylvia's like pulls her hand back. She's like, he's like, "I forgot, there's no seats," and then she falls. He's like, "Just swim back." It's like, but yeah, that's what you gotta do to Travis. You gotta knock him down a peg.
Yeah.
They technically did it. I didn't mention it. They technically did it with a mech too, because the UA is like like flying around like a helicopter, and she's like congratulating him, and then he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna confiscate your robot." And he's like, "What?" And then she's like, "It's too big and it's a public nuisance." And then it's like, you thought Travis had this really cool robot, but now it's gone. Yeah. So. All right. Before we move on, really you could do this fight at any point up to this point, but this is where I want to insert it. So something I do like is the fact that you actually get challenged by a lower rank in this game. And you have to go back into your motel room and you get a little facts about it. And we go back to Santa Destroy University to fight Kimmy Howell, who is a university student who looks up to Travis. There's not really much of a level leading up to it. I do like the fact that you're going back through the university and you can see pieces of Charlie's mech that have destroyed pieces of the university when it fell. So it's kind of funny. um, but yeah, what'd you think about Kimmy Howell?
I didn't do this one.
You didn't do it.
I checked the fax machine every time and didn't do anything.
Damn, you missed it. Fuck. All right. Well, Kimmy Howell, I'll tell you about it then. Kimmy Howell is Travis's number one fan. She is a college student assassin who has participated in like student leagues and stuff. I don't know because I guess it's a sport or whatever. And she writes Travis this like love letter. She's like this cute little bubbly girl, and Travis is reading it out loud as she's like playing her recorder. And it starts out with him, with her being like, "I am your number one fan," and I blah blah. And then it gets more crazy that goes on, and she's like, I had a vision that maybe one day I would surpass Travis the Great, therefore beheading my hero and become it's like, and then only I would have him. So basically, she's like a fangirl who wants to kill Travis because she loves him. Um, so yeah, you have a fight with her. Her weapon's funny. It's her recorder that she's playing turns into a Darth Maul style double-ended lightsaber that's pink. And then you fight her, and she like blows bubbles at you and stuff, and that's like funny music. Um, and then obviously Travis wins, and Travis doesn't actually kill this one. Much like Shinobu in the first game, this one Travis like suplexes her and knocks her out. And then Travis just says like, "Fuck this! I can't kill a co-ed." Then he goes, come meet me when you're older or whatever. And then he walks away. Um, so yeah, it's a pretty funny encounter. Um, it's like overall, it's like one of the most like out of left field fights is the theming and like the character and stuff. But
Okay.
I think it also helps because like in some ways it kind of mirrors an element of the first game where like in the first game you let Shinobu live, this game he lets this other kid live. So I don't know. I thought
Well,
it
in
was
this
cute.
game, he tries to let a lot of people live.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of development, I think, with the character in this game, or they're trying to do some sort of development with the character.
Which again,
Uh,
you know,
yeah, I know, Spencer. I know.
it's like if you don't care, why are you doing this? Why are you spending time on this? Like, I don't
I,
understand.
I think it's not that I don't think it's not that they don't care. I think it's just like they don't care about certain specs, right? Certain elements, certain things. I think it's and it's still a problem. Yeah, but I'm just saying. Um, All right. Well, okay. So moving on from there, since Spencer didn't play that one, we can't really talk about much of it, but it did happen. Um, we're going to talk about the first battle royale fight you ever. Sylvia tells you to come to her office, and she tells you that the next fight is going to be a battle royale, where
Yeah.
a bunch of assassins are going to fight to the death. Which I liked because the way she explains it, she was like, "We do it when it's slow, or we have too many entries, or we're just bored." I
Yeah.
think that's kind of funny. Um, so this is, I think, a pivotal moment of this game where the narrative shifts for a little while
Yes.
to again the game's about revenge, and from this rank on through the next few ranks, the game kind of becomes a mirror of the first game in some ways. Um, and it all starts with this quote unquote battle royale. Really, it's a fight with a character named Doctor Let's Shake, who has, when you enter the arena, he has already killed all of the other combatants. So Travis is the only guy left. So there goes a much more of the entries.
Yeah.
And Doctor Let's Shake technically appeared in No More Heroes 1 as a non-playable boss. It was the fifth ranked
I
assassin in No More
I
Heroes 1.
recognized him immediately.
Yeah, yeah. Were you excited about that? I know you liked that in the first
Yeah.
game
I was
whenever
I was wondering if they were
there was
gonna do
that
the same thing. Yeah. That was
no, they
awesome.
kind of. I think this fight was them, and honestly, I think this is one of the best fights in the game. But this fight was honestly them being like, well, we didn't give you this fight in the first game, so we're gonna give it to you now. So the way they did it in the first game, your brother Henry popped out of nowhere, sliced him in half, and then stole it from you. So in this one, the in the first game, Doctor Lich Shake was just called Lich Shake, and it was a dude riding a giant metal thing with a brain, and it's insinuated that now those two entities have just become one, because like it's still a big metal thing with a brain, but it has some of the speech pattern of the guy that was writing it. So it's like they've combined into one being somehow and returned.
Yeah.
And they've also gotten their revenge on Henry. He's frozen in carbonite. So there's your Star Wars reference, everybody.
Also the lightsaber, but yeah.
Oh yeah, well, that's always the thing, but you know what I mean. They literally had to be like, well, like they Han Soloed his ass. There he is.
I thought it was
Um,
interesting that he kept mentioning he would say question mark, but he wouldn't say period.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
It's very selective punctuation.
Yeah. I I honestly do think this is one of the better fights in the game. I think this fight uses the environment in a creative way because basically Dr. Lich Shake has these four big things attached to him that will stomp the ground and cause like an earthquake,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to get on selective platforms that aren't shaking and within a time limit to not get hit by the effects.
Yeah.
And the timer for that effect will speed up and slow down. So you'll hear them count down either at a high pitch or low pitch tone, so you know it's like, how fast it's going. And you're just trying to get over to them and slice them up as much as you can, but between the countdowns.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I think it's a really cool fight.
Yeah. It's a cool fight. Memorable, certainly.
Yeah. Again, I think it's from this point on we kind of enter a chapter of like, remember that stuff from No More Heroes 1? And this was one of them. You kill him, you save Henry, I guess. He's still there. That's not really your intention, but and Travis even said like that's not his intention. He doesn't give a shit about Henry.
Yeah.
But he's technically saved him because he's in his way. But then Sylvia shows up. They kind of alluded to this earlier in a cutscene. I'm not talking about all the cutscenes, but Sylvia shows up with somebody in a sidecar on a motorcycle, and it's none other than Shinobu from the first game.
Yeah.
Remember her?
Mm-hmm. She's a black assassin ninja.
Now, Spencer, if I remember, you liked Shinobu in the first game, right?
Yeah. Still do. Well, I like her as a character.
Still do.
I like her as a character. I have some problems with the levels that she's in.
I know what you're gonna bring up. I know what you're gonna
You
bring
do?
up. So yeah, I do know what you're gonna bring up. So the big change is now that Sylvia has requested that Shinobu, who refers to Travis as her master, by the way, has like asked her to assist him in the assassination. So she tells Travis, and he's like, "I don't need your help." She's like, "Well, I already sort of did it."
Yeah.
So you play through 2 levels now as Shinobu, where you get to see what she did to help Travis, which I think is cool and is a nice change up and a change of pace
Mm-hmm.
for the game. And also it's like we get to play somebody else that isn't Travis, and she has a different play style. I won't say better. She has a different play style.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you get to go through 2 levels. The first one is through a bank. As Shinobu, she uses a normal katana. She doesn't have a beam katana. She has a normal ass katana. The big thing with Shinobu is that she's more agile and she can jump.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about that.
So you do know what I'm going to complain about.
Yeah, the platforming for Shinobu is not good.
No, the engine clearly wasn't designed for it. I think one of the problems is that when it's detecting your character, it's assuming things about the jump and about the height. And if you didn't meet those requirements, even though you clearly jumped to it doesn't register. So even if you're jumping, like you're trying to jump up an obvious box, your position has to be in a certain, I don't know, like understanding of where it is. And if it didn't meet those requirements, you just failed the jump, even if you clearly cleared it. This makes for frustrating moments, especially during boss fights, where you're literally just trying to climb the thing, and your character just like jumps up straight over and over again, and you just get angry. I like the concept.
Yeah,
I like the idea of it. It needs a lot of cleaning up for it.
I think her combat's fun though. Just like her regular swordplay.
Yeah.
Like playing as her, I think is pretty fun.
I like the ranged attacks.
I do like the fact that like, yeah, the little laser things you can throw out. If you jump and slash, you can like slash down like through an enemy and cut them in half and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
there's some cool stuff to do as Shinobu. They did a good job at making her feel like different enough from just playing as Travis.
And
Like
that little puzzle where you're destroying all the targets. That's great. That was
Yeah,
wonderful. More
yeah,
of that, please.
yeah. You're in like a bank vault, and you had to like find the buttons to turn off like the lasers.
I like that a
Like, yeah,
lot.
it was cool. Yeah, yeah. I do also I like the fact that like this kind of because again we don't know much about Shinobu except for like what we learned in the first game was basically like her fight and then she showed up at the end of the game. So to help Travis. So it's like we still don't really know much about her the character. I like the fact that like throughout the first game, Travis said moe, which is like a Japanese term. I forgot what moe means, but it's something lame to do with like his anime bullshit. And I like the fact that I don't know you can look up moe what it means, but I like the fact that Shinobu says moe all the damn time. She's taken moe on as like some sort of like a fighting thing from Travis, and like she says it like like you have no moe and stuff, and then like there's even like instead of shitting, she takes a shower to save, and even in the shower she'll see like what does moe mean, and I like the fact that she's just adapted this shit from Travis and is just like taking it as far out of context as possible.
Okay, according to Reddit, it
Look
has a couple of different meanings, but they're pretty similar. It means to burn with passion or pride, etc. And in the same and these are, I guess, slightly different characters. I don't speak Japanese or read it, but appears to be similar to relaxing or feeling good, i.e., the emotion you feel when you see cute girls. The closest English representation may be, hmm. Although he says
exactly.
it's his
I think
personal
I think
perspective.
I think it's that one anyway. That's more of the term that Travis uses it for his like stupid anime bullshit that he likes. But I just like the fact that like Shinobu's adapted it into some sort of like a fighting thing, like for her fighting style and stuff. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, apparently it's like feeling of affection, adoration, or strong attraction toward fictional characters, usually cute or endearing ones.
Yeah, but now it's whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
That's funny. I just love that idea. All right, so the first boss you fight with Shinobu is Million Gunman, who, before we talk about the fight itself, I want to note that this fight in development, because again, they bring back a lot of stuff from the first game, this fight was originally supposed to be Dr. Peace, but they thought that would be too stupid if they brought back Dr. Peace.
I could see it. I was literally piecing them together as the same character.
Yeah, and I agree. If they did bring back Dr. Peace, that would be too stupid. Because he was just a dude. He was just a regular dude. So yeah. But anyway, you fight Million Gunman. He's a rich dude in the bank. I don't know. He's fine. There's the platforming shenanigans with this fight where he goes through doors and he fires at you from different areas, and you have to figure out where he is. And he says, I'm not going to go easy on you just because you're a girl."
Oh, did he say that? Did he say that once or twice?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, a couple times I think.
Did he say that
He
a
said it a
couple
few times.
times? Do you let that one slip?
Yeah.
I don't know if I remember him saying that.
I'm not going to go easy on you just because you're a girl.
Could they add a couple more voice lines to these characters? Does it
I'm
all of
not
them?
going to go easy on you just because you're a girl.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to because. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to. It's like, oh my god! Add like a one other one.
Well, if there's look, I feel like I learned a lot about Million Gunman during this fight, and if I learned anything, it's that he's not going to go easy on her just because she's a girl.
Yeah.
You know, I think it really. What do we know about the character Million Gunman? It's that he's not sexist because he's not going to go easy on her just because she's a girl. He's going to treat her with equal opportunity.
Yeah.
Just yeah.
We know that's called character development.
Yes.
He's highly developed. Million Gunman.
Yes. Yeah, he might be the most developed character in this game.
Yeah. Yeah. They really focused on that.
And
Jesus.
he's because yeah. You know, I'm just if there's one big takeaway from the Million Gunman fight is that he's not going to go easy on her just because she's a girl.
Yeah.
I hope you clip this. It's like
The big takeaway from No More
the
Heroes 2.
the true meaning behind Million Gun Man or something.
Yeah.
It's not gonna go easy on her just because she's a girl. You kill him. You slice his head into pieces. I do like the fact that he's like cuts off her head, his head, and then he's like tell me your name or something. And then she's like, when you meet me, sorry, when you're at the gates of hell, tell her Shinobu Jacob sent you. And then he's like, yes, sir. And then she chops his head to pieces. I'm like, this is stupid. Why is he talking? Dumb.
Yes, sir.
Uh, yes, sir. um, Before the next level, we have a little cutscene. We had a visitor. Shinobi went to Bishop's grave, and we had a visitor. Do you know who this guy was?
Oh shit. I remember the cutscene.
It's a Japanese guy. He gives Shinobu a thing and says, this is well first he's like, is this Bishop's grave? And then he's like, do you know his friend Travis? Can you give this to him or whatever? And it's
I remember. I don't remember if there was significance. Who was it?
that was Miike, the director. That was him. That was the guy that like inspired No More Heroes. He's in the game. Apparently, he was a pen pal with Bishop.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I wouldn't have known that.
That's him.
All right.
No, you wouldn't. They never say him by name, but that's him. He's in the game for some reason.
Who is it?
And
Miike?
he brings Miike.
Miike?
He's a Japanese director. He directed a bunch of movies, and they inspired the first No More Heroes.
Okay.
So they reference Miike a lot. If you ever play the third game, they reference Miike a lot, and he has another cameo. And he actually say who he is this time. But they reference him a lot in the third game. But anyway, this is his little cute cameo. He's here, and he delivers a box, which we'll talk about later. Moving on.
Oh, he gives her
second,
that tall box that she then gives to Travis with the best swords in the game.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Miike.
Thank you.
I refuse to say
Why'd you have
Japanese
those?
people's names correctly. I will not do it.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
Big Mike, thanks.
Thank you, Mike, with the extra eyes.
Yeah.
Mike. Mike.
I call him Two-Eyed Mike.
Two-Eyed Mike.
Yeah.
He's got two eyes. And his name. And on his face. So the next level, we go to a some sort of a warehouse facility area. I don't know. You do a standard level. I do like to note that in this stage, okay, so for one, I love the music in this game. It's awesome. It's very punk rock. But they don't really they haven't reused a lot of stuff from the first game. This is the first stage that actually just reuse a song from the first game. And I think it's fitting.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I think it's very fitting. Yeah, because you're going through like this warehouse, a slice of dudes, that's Shinobu. Now, in No More Heroes 1, Shinobu was ranked 7. And right after her, rank 6 was Destroy Man. So in this level, we get to see new Destroy Man. He's back.
Wait, you're saying that what rank are they in this one?
I don't know about this one. Who cares?
Oh, okay,
I'm just
okay.
saying in the first game, in the first game, she was ranked 7 and he was ranked 6.
This one they're ranked 8.
So I think it's kind of cool the way that they set that up, because like if she gets to fight Destroy Man, but if in No More Heroes 1, if Travis didn't come along, she would have also probably fought Destroy Man, like going in terms of the ranking.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I always thought that's kind of cute. So Destroy Man's back. How the fuck is Destroy Man back? Travis literally cut him down and down the middle of his body in half.
And
What?
his
How is he
design
back?
is like half of a robot.
Yeah, yeah. How is he back, Spencer? What happened?
I don't know. But
He got robot
the
body.
other guy couldn't have been brought back to life. That would have been stupid
Yeah.
from literally the last fight.
Destroy Man is sort of a running joke within the series. So he is back here. I think it is cute because in the first game, it like insinuated that he had like a split personality between like his mailman personality and his superhero personality, and
Mm.
then here he quite literally is split into two personalities that fight concurrently. So I think it is kind of cute. The fight's annoying, but it is cute.
I
uh,
found a strategy for
I don't
this
know. I
fight
think
where
it's an okay fight.
I killed the one and I killed him in the center of the map and it made the fight a lot
Mhm.
easier.
Yeah,
Um,
the issue is that once you kill one of them, the other one will constantly try to come revive it.
mhm.
So you have to like find a way to kill them both, concurrently in some fashion. But yeah, it's pretty easy to cheese it to where you can knock one down, and then when the other one flies over to get them, you can start wailing on them.
Yeah, I noticed that I'd killed one and it was at the end of the map, and then I would go to the other end to fight the other guy, and he would just fly over. So then I decided, what if I kill this guy, but kill him like right in the center, underneath the bridge? And so then the guy like it was much easier to chase him, and I just fucked him up.
Yeah,
So I don't think it's cheating. I think it's strategy. I think it's pro strat.
I like this. I like this fight. I think it's annoying, but I do like the fight just because. I mean, fucking Destroy Man's back for some reason. He's like the best guy from the first game. So it's like I get to spend more time with this idiot.
Okay,
And
yeah.
again, it's like a running gag. This isn't a spoiler because they're like open about it. He comes back in 3, and then they've already, even though they don't have a fourth game planned, but they've showed off his design. They said if they ever do a fourth game, they already have a Destroy Man design ready. And they've shown off what he would look like in a fourth game. He's the fucking cockroach. He's a cockroach in this series, man. You can't kill him. He's gonna keep coming back. It's like if it's anything we know, if there's a main series No More Heroes game that comes out with a number, it's gonna have a fucking Destroy Man fight in it. So
That's sick.
it's funny. So you do kill him. He blows up. Whatever. Anyway, so it cuts back, and Travis is talking to Shinobu in his motel room, and Henry's on the bed next to him, like still in a coma or whatever. And she's talking about like Travis is like, "Wow, Destroy Man came back. That's crazy and stuff." And then they're talking, and then like Shinobu like makes some like advances and tries to like kiss Travis, and Travis is like, "No, I can't." He's like, I feel like the pervy teacher in a porn." And then she like gets upset and leaves, and that's the last we see of Shinobu in this game. But
Yeah,
interesting.
I didn't get that. I don't know.
You didn't
And
get what?
it's like I just think it's more just confusion. And I think it leads me
Yeah.
to my overall view of this, which is just like the first one, I don't think any of this matters. Is kind of
Yeah.
where I end up with this. So it's like I take these scenes where he's showing like I'm not saying he is moral or not, but showing a morality situation, like placed in a place where is moral ambiguity, and he's struggling to make the right decision. And there's a couple like from here on, there's a couple moments of it, and you look at that and you go, was it done because we're supposed to care about the characters, or was it done because it's like in these kinds of movies this thing happens and the characters do it? And I just don't know that it executed well in either way, but I take it as they don't matter. And I think that's the right direction.
Yeah, I think there is some like I think overall a lot of things don't matter. I think the progression of the character himself in some ways matter because they like that's something they do throughout all of the games. Is that like Travis from like the third game, Travis from the first game are like very different characters. Like they're very different people. And like I don't know, there's like things that carry, but you know, with the character,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'm sitting here questioning myself. I'm like asking if say this happened not with Shinobu because she was like 17 or something in the first game, but if this happened in the first game with the same sort of scenario, would Travis have taken the same approach? You know, or like has he in some ways, I guess, progressed as a character? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm confused by it. Like Metal Gear Solid had very
Anyway,
specific rules on this. Like it was like it it was a parody, but it wasn't necessarily a comedy. Like it wasn't necessarily a joke, but it was still a parody of other forms of media. But they still had a story that had continuity in it. I don't want to say it made sense, but it had like a goal and it pushed towards a theme and stuff. This one, I still think the theme is nihilism, but I, f- I can't put my finger. I feel like they're wavering from that. I don't know if it's intentional or
maybe it's just that's just what happens when you make a sequel, right? Like you can't make a sequel with nothing.
I don't see why
I don't know.
not. They literally,
Yeah, I don't know.
it's No More
Like
Heroes. Why not? Like,
that's
why not?
true. I don't know. I don't. That's I mean, I don't know what the right approach is because I'm not. It's obviously like beyond my grasp of
Hmm.
like creating something, right?
Yeah,
But like, I don't know. I feel like maybe they thought that if they just made a game that was the same as the first and didn't matter at all, people wouldn't cling to it or something. I
but
don't know.
I feel like that's what the first game was. I guess in my opinion,
It
that's what the
was.
first game was.
It kind of was. Yeah.
And then they start out that way. We're like, well, the ending doesn't matter. Like that didn't happen. That might as well not have happened. And then we're like, okay, cool. So it's just absurdity. And then they're like, well, but here's some moral struggle. Like what? Like why does
Yeah.
he suddenly care about this shit? This fucker. Like who cares?
No, you can't, Spencer. You can't fuck the sexy college age girl in the Lolita dress.
Why not?
No, Spencer, that's morally wrong.
In
Actually, I don't
what
even know.
in what
Actually, I
way
don't even
is
know
it?
what's morally wrong about it.
Yeah,
I
in what
mean, like
way
he
is it
didn't groom
morally
her.
wrong? Yeah.
Like he literally hasn't seen her since she was like 17 or something, and now she's like what? She's 20.
Well, plus in Japan, I think the legal age is different. Legal age
Yeah,
is like
but
16, I think.
still, she technically in this game she'd be 20. It's 3 years.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I don't understand some of the decisions here.
whatever. Anyway, she's gone. We won't be seeing Shinobu again. Bye. So, all right, we move on to like the last chunk of the game here
Yeah.
with the next fight, which I honestly, you know, like I made that top 10 list and you edited it, and honestly, and I did that as a collaboration with DZD. If I were to go back in time now and make that list again, I mean, I would make it with like all the newer games are out now, but. I would redo a lot of it because honestly, I think this next fight might just be like at the very top of my list, and it's the fight with Ryuji. Uh, Now, we don't know much about Ryuji. He's a cool dude on a motorcycle,
This
and
would be on your
there's some
top
like
list. This would be number one.
of the fight itself. Not, I don't know about number one, but definitely in like the top three, probably
Okay.
because there's some cool imagery here with like the dragon versus the tiger, right?
Hmm.
And he's basically just like a mirror of Travis in a lot of the ways. Like he's like a samurai version of Travis in some ways. Like he has a cool motorcycle, he has a beam sword. I don't know, he even kind of looks like Travis a little bit. Like and the this fight is just fucking cool, man. Like there's not much here story wise. You basically Travis drives there in a cutscene, and then you're there. But you the first thing you do is like a almost like a sumo fight on your motorcycles, where you try to push each other off of the area that you're on. And
Yeah.
then after that, you start actually fighting. And I honestly think part of this is a callback to the first game as well, with the that guy you didn't fight that wasn't your dad in the first game that had like the weird long lightsaber. Remember that? They kind of play with that because he has like this long dragon thing he flies out at you, so it's like you kind of get to do that fight like actually.
Hmm.
I don't know. This one's cool. It's kind of tough and it's cool and it has a cool setting and I like it.
I'm not gonna harp on it anymore. Um,
Yeah.
Storyline confusion here about what if we're supposed to care about this or not. It was a cool fight, and it was much more of like a traditional uh, assassin versus assassin fight that didn't have a lot of like weirdness to it. It was oddly, um, I wouldn't say realistic, but it was oddly normal feeling. Like there wasn't a lot to like laugh at with it.
Yeah.
It was just very straightforward. I don't know if I would call it a one of my top ones though. Yeah, I find that
What
interesting.
about of this game? Is it still no?
Mm, for one, I don't know if it was different on the Switch, but the controls for the vehicle was atrocious.
Is
Um,
it bad?
I almost beat it by accident. I think I was just fuddling with the controls. I kept getting knocked off. The turning was really bad for
Hmm.
the motorcycle. But at one point, I hit the brake. He was chasing me, and I hit the brake, and then he went past me instead of ramming into me, and just fell off the ledge. And then I was like, all right, whatever, I'll take it. Um, no, I don't think in this game I would put this as even close to number. I think number one is like to me the second to last boss. That would be my number one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good one too. So we'll talk about. I don't know. I like this one. Um, there's not a lot to it. I love the cutscene after the fight where like they're like both panting and stuff, and then like the Ryuji falls down and Travis is like yeah, he starts screaming, and
Yeah.
then he I think this is their attempt to show some like character progression here because he goes to like like help Ryuji up, and then Sylvia comes in and starts gunning him down. So it's like I don't know. I
But
felt
again,
like there's
is that what people want from him, from this character?
I don't I don't know. I mean, and honest, but it is a turning point though because honestly, in the sequel games, he's not the same type of person. Like he doesn't just kill to kill anymore. So I don't know. Like it's hard for me to like detach myself from it because like I know where the character goes,
Okay.
and I know what they do with him. Like in the third game, he's a hero character basically, but I know what they do with him go moving forward. So it's hard for me to like detach from that.
Okay.
I don't know. I thought it was interesting that he like met a warrior that he I don't know respected, and he was gonna let him live. And then the UAA was like, "No, you're not."
Yeah, I feel like if in this series, if there was a turning point for this character, it was probably the section before this where he doesn't have sex with that girl with Shinobu, and then this is like a
Pivotal
very
moment. No more heroes too. He doesn't have sex.
yeah. Well, I mean, isn't that kind of the thing? Because it's like the first game, it was definitely a driving force. Was he just
Yeah,
wanted
that's
sex?
literally his like motivation, right? It was like he wants to fuck.
And then
So
now a girl
yeah,
is like
I guess.
throwing herself at him, and he's like morally against it for his reasons, but which I don't fully understand. Um, but yeah, it's like now he's officially changed. I think from this point on, he's a different character. Well, not different character, but he's you know
His
developed.
morals. He has
He's shown
morals.
growth.
Yeah, he has morals, which is what he didn't have any in the first game, right?
Right.
Really. The only moral we knew about Travis in the first game was like he didn't like to kill women. That was his only thing, right? Like he had a strong disdain for killing women, which
Hmm.
clearly is gone because he does multiple times.
Well, he does it in the first games.
Yeah, yeah, but like it develops because like at first he doesn't want to,
Hmm.
and then he does by the end.
Yeah.
Um, So, all right, Ryuji is dead. And then next we get the most plot relevant and important fight in the game. This is a pivotal moment in the game. The story would not change without this fight. Um, we Henry Cooldown wakes up in a field of daisies, and meets a girl named Mimi, who he's in a coma, and this is his dream world. And Mimi basically tells him that she's not letting him leave, and he says, "I'm leaving." And Mimi looks like the anime weeb shit that Travis likes, and I like the fact that he's still in Travis's bed in his motel room. So I like to think that this is like him hearing Travis watching this shit in the other room and like absorbing it.
That's
Just
exactly what
like
I thought it was.
it like manifests in his head.
Yeah. Mhm.
So we get a fight with him as Henry with an anime girl named Mimi. What did you think about the Mimi fight?
It was cool. I liked it. It was different.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it does come from him just hearing the show, and it's so fucking funny when he woke up and then he's just jerking off and
Oh yeah, he's whacking off in the other room.
so
It's whoa, whoa, whoa.
a little bit weird if it was to Mimi, but let's ignore that. But yeah, it was a good fight and it felt different. His actions were interesting because he was purely a sword user in the purest sense, where even your dodge, your A and B weren't like a kick or anything or a jump; they were just like a dash, which was strange because you already have a dash. So it was a little bit weird, but I mean, you only fought it with him once, so didn't get a lot of time with it. But it was cool. I like it.
Yeah, it was cool to get to play as
Oh,
Henry. Sorry.
and I don't know if you noticed this, but the kanji symbol on Mimi's back stands for Moe.
Moe! Yeah! See? um, it is cool to get to play as Henry. Now, I do believe they originally wanted to give you more time with Henry, that maybe they had some development issues or something, and they didn't get to. But I'm glad we at least got a fight with him, because I don't know, it's cool to get to play as like the other guy from the first game that we saw and fought with and stuff. And I can't imagine like that it'd be too hard to like design levels around him. But again, I get it. Maybe they had some like development crunch and they had to cut him or something.
I don't think they had a hard. They designed levels around characters. See,
No, well,
Shinobu.
not Shinobu. Yeah, see Shinobu. They tried to, but I'm just saying. I think they could have designed some with this one, because he has like a cool dash maneuver where he can like evade around a lot, and then he can like throw like these like energy balls and stuff,
Mhm.
which is interesting if you hold his button. And like he's fun. It's just it always felt kind of wasted though, that we only got this one fight. Like I'm happy we have it, because I'm happy we get to do something with Henry at all. But like I've always been like, man, I wish they like did a stage or something. Yeah. Um, but still, even if this is the only thing we got, it's probably one of the funniest parts of the game. So
Yeah.
and also inflation fetish warning. When he stab when he kills Mimi, she like inflates to like the hugest size and then blows up. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's someone's kink right there.
Yeah.
Once watching that cutscene. She like inflate this like cute anime girl inflates and then blows up.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Weird.
yeah, someone's definitely getting off to that. So anyway, he wakes up, Travis is jerking off, and he tells him like, hey, whenever you're able to get out, get out. He's like, all right. And that's that. And then yeah, we get that phone call later. That's like a voice message that you talked about earlier, where he talks
Yeah.
about killing the other three dudes,
Yeah.
and the message goes on for way too long. And Travis is like, "How long is this message?" And then at the very end of the message, after he's done talking, he's like, "Well, I've said what I had to say, so I'm gonna hang up now." Long message, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. That's so funny.
So I guess because he helped him, Henry feels the need to kill three dudes off screen. So there goes three more assassins.
Thanks,
So we're getting
Henry.
to the final stretch here. I have a question for you, uh,
Okay.
Spencer. Do you like grocery stores?
Yeah, I guess.
Have you ever thought about getting into a fight in the parking lot of the grocery store?
Oh, I see. No, it doesn't seem like the ideal place.
Great. What if you did it for 10 minutes?
Oh my god, yeah. This is
And
me
that's
just
it?
talking to him.
This I said we weren't going to mention all the stages, but what the fuck, man? Why is this so long? Why is this section so fucking long? You go to this grocery store, it's like Wands or whatever, and it's like, cool, I get to go through a grocery store. No! Like, you do get to eventually go through the grocery store, which is fun. But no, you're fucking in the parking lot, and dudes just keep riding up in vans and hopping out, and there's no fucking music or anything. You're just slicing them up. And it's like, what the. Dude, like, give me something to do. Like, why is this a stage?
Right.
Why is it so long? Like, is that the joke? Is that it's so long or something? Like, why is it like this? Why?
I don't know. I was
This
wondering
is
that
like
myself when I was playing. Like, did they just give up? Like, did they just
it's the
like?
most brain numbing part of the game where you're like, slice.
Yeah. I just.
Granted, you get a lot of you have the potential to get a lot of tiger transformations here.
Oh yeah.
Which that's you know what you know what the power ups are fun and the tiger is probably the most fun one because you get awesome music and you're a tiger and all the enemies start running away in fear because you're gonna maul them and that is funny and it's fun and it doesn't make any sense and it doesn't need to make any sense
Yeah.
because it's fun. So at least you have that. Um, this is a good point to reference though that now that we're back, well, technically you had it with Ryuji, but now that there's no stage for Ryuji. Now that we're back from the Shinobu stuff, we have his newest swords. Which, by the way, there are four swords in the game. There's the standard Bloodberry, which is his iconic blue one. There's the Tsubaki, which is the green one from the first game. There is the Peony, which is a new one. It's a very long red one that's slow and is good for like crowd control. And then there is the best weapon in the game that we got during that cutscene. It is the Rose Nasty. It is a dual bladed sword thing. It's like two swords,
Yeah.
and because I guess because it's No Heroes 2, so it's two. Uh, Whatever. So yes, Travis can dual wield now. So he becomes a menace to anybody that gets in his way from this point on because he is so fast with those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's Margaret Moonlight.
What about Guan, Spencer? What about? I'm just kidding. Yeah, Margaret Moonlight. You fight her on top of the grocery store, on top of Guan's, and she's I think she's supposed to be like a pop idol type character. Like the song, like the games, the fight starts and she's like whistling a tune and she's like, "You know this song?" And Travis is like, "Nope." And then you fight, and then during the fight, she's singing like the song in the background, and she's singing it. And then after you kill her, she's like, ask Travis if he remembered the song, and he's like 100%. And she's like, "That's so sublime," and then dies. So it's like I think she's supposed to be like some sort of pop idol type character.
Yeah. Which is
Um,
weird because she doesn't really look like that. She looks more like an undead kind of thing.
yeah, she has like a gothic look to her almost, or something,
I guess there's
or like a
music for
made
everybody.
up like Spencer. What did you think about the fight?
It was interesting, very different. It's here where I realized you have to pay attention to the colors of your enemy's attack, and when they like glow red, it means they're about to hit something. So just dodge, and that's kind of I carried that forward. Is just looking at that. I didn't really have to before. Maybe the fights are just too easy, but this one you have to pay attention to that, and I noticed that going forward. So interesting design choice. Um, the exploding generator, whatever they were on the roof.
His roof boxes.
Roof boxes was interesting. Because you could destroy him, she could destroy him. But yeah, cool fight. Not too crazy, but it took me 2 tries, I think, because she beat me the first time.
Yeah, the part where she snipes can be tricky.
Mhm.
She can knock off a lot of your health doing that. So, but once you get her down the ground, it's pretty easy to like get up close to her and dodge some attacks and get her.
Yeah.
Pretty good fight. Pretty good fight. Next, let's move on to Captain Vladimir. Um, so you have a very riveting stage before this fight. By that I mean you drive your motorcycle. That's
Better
it.
than
What?
some of the other ones.
Why did they do anything? I know, but also it's like why did they do anything here? Like I replayed this by the way. I finished my playthrough last night, and I was playing this part, and you're driving down the highway, and I remember I think there's a part in the first game like towards the end where you're doing the same sort of thing, but you have to like dodge a laser and stuff. Remember? And it's like like you're like driving to like the rank 1 fight. It's like in this one I was like I misremembered because I was like, oh yeah, don't you have to like fight people on bikes or something? No, it's just a nice peaceful drive down the highway. It's like, oh well, that would have been nice if they added something.
I don't know. I didn't hate it. I didn't
I
hate
didn't
it.
hate it either. I didn't hate it either. I just was like, I was questioning it. I was questioning its motive.
Made me think like, wouldn't it be nice if this was in all of them? Like, they could style it a little bit, but this was just kind of part of the game, like in the first one.
Maybe maybe I'm okay with it. Yeah, because I didn't get to spend time on his bike.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm okay with it because I'm like, oh cool, I get to ride his bike. Like I wish I did that like in the first game.
Yeah. Yeah. It did.
Oh
It was like a harkening back to the first one,
yeah,
which was nice.
I was like, remember when I did that all the time? The good old days.
Good old days, man.
So Captain Vladimir
The
is a
Rage.
astronaut.
Was it the
What?
Rage from Metal Gear Solid 3? What was his
Oh
name?
yeah, it is the Rage. I I love this fight because I just love Travis's reaction to like the giant laser shooting down from the satellite because Travis is like, I gotta fight a whole fucking space program now. Like, I don't know, that's good.
Yeah. Oh no.
Warp, warp. uh, I think this is a cool fight. You fight him in a field with like crop circles, and he has a lot of laser attacks and stuff. Obviously, the one for the satellite crushes down, and he does a lot of attacks. And
He's got that shield in front. It's
yeah,
nice.
so you gotta get from you have to get from the back a lot. Um, Not really like he himself doesn't do much because he's just a dude in a chair. But I I think it's just more like the theming around the fight and stuff, and the location is just cool.
Yeah.
It makes it stand out to me.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. Other than that, yeah, just get him from the back, avoid the lasers. Try to get his health down. We're back to the moral thing because apparently I want to know more about this guy in general because apparently Captain Vladimir didn't know that he's been on Earth the whole time. So after Travis beats him and like cracks his helmet and stuff, he's like, fresh oxygen, blue sky, this is Earth. And then he's like, welcome home, or whatever. And then like the Sylvia shows up with her dudes to like suck him up, with those weird vacuum things. And then Travis is like, you're not gonna suck him up with your damn vacuum. And it's like, I don't know. I thought that was a nice moment because like he felt bad for this dude because he didn't know he was on Earth this whole time. Like he thought he was in space the whole time.
Hmm.
So it was like confused ghost Russian astronaut guy. You want to move on? We're almost there.
Yep.
I want to let Spencer handle the next one because you said this is your favorite fight of the game.
Yes.
All right.
This is you go through like a lot of narrow passageways, like down streets it seems, and you finally get to the top, and there's this chick. Looks like she's part robot, and she's on like well, I wouldn't say stilts, but like on a long
On a stilt,
on
on
a
like a single
stilt,
stilt.
a robotic stilt, and it's more like just like a kind of like General Grievous in a way. Um, but it just felt like more than the other ones, like an actual like 1v1 assassin fight that the other ones didn't. They all had their gimmicks or whatever. This one almost felt stripped of gimmicks, despite her having like 50 or like 8 swords or whatever. But it just felt more like a one-on-one duel, and I appreciated it. I actually felt like respect for her and like learning her patterns and dodging um and I felt like Travis kind of respected her towards the end of it too, which mirrored me. So I felt the most akin to
You were
this fight,
Travis.
and I was him, and he was I.
Yeah, there was there's a cool little fact about this fight. So in the opening cutscene, she's like throwing photos into like a fire and stuff, and talking about like how meaningless it is, and like how like no one else understands like how Travis got out and stuff, and he wants to be, she wants to learn. You can't really see the photos; they're blurry, but data miners have gone in, and in those photos, it's of her, it's of Alice Twilight and Margaret Moonlight, and like a family. Apparently, they were like family,
Mm.
but they never once referenced that. So I don't know if that was like scrapped or something. Is it like something they were going to do eventually? Like originally, then they decided nah, but they just used those photos as like a prop
Mm.
or something. But like, so like they never talked about it or anything. But like, I don't know. They're there in the game. They exist.
Weird.
Um, yeah, it's a very good fight. I want to think this is one of the earliest ones they probably programmed, because I think Alice was in like some early promotional material when they were developing the game.
Okay.
So this was probably a pretty early fight for them to start putting together. Yeah, she puts General Grievous to shame because she has 5
This was
laser swords.
this was the second one that my computer crashed. Not computer, but
Oh
the game
no!
crashed. So it was fine. I figured it out.
Yeah.
I beat
So
her
you fight her.
ass.
Yeah, you beat her ass, and then she asked you to remember that there was an assassin named Alice, and then Travis slices her in half and is covered in her blood. And then he starts yelling at Sylvia in like a very passionate like monologue, which is very not in character for this character, right? But he starts yelling about how like assassins aren't tools, and even though they're fucked up, they're people too, and you can't use death as your tool. And then he says a line that I still question even to this very day when I was playing it. He was like it doesn't matter if it's video games, movies, manga, anime, we're people. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, that's the writer. That's the writer speaking
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that was Suda just coming through there for a second. But
Assuming Suda,
basically Travis,
we're assuming Suda wrote that.
he was the scenario writer. So I think a lot of, because like a lot of it still feels like Suda. So I think a lot of the scenarios and cutscenes and dialogue were still Suda,
Okay.
and then everything else, the everything out like gameplay and a lot of the other aspects were some
But
other
you're
guy.
confident
Like Crash.
the voice is always Suda.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So um, so yeah, he tells Sylvia his intention to tear down the UAA. So Travis is sick of all this shit, and he wants it all gone. So that happens. Very passionate moment. Some people don't like this scene. Some people do like this scene. I think it's a pretty good scene. I think it's just I think it's just jarring in terms of like the series, though.
It's
You know?
not. I mean, it's not jarring in terms of this game, in the context of where
No,
Travis has gone. If you're looking at the
I think
series,
there's build up. Yeah,
yeah, if you're looking at the series from a whole of the first two, because that's all that was out at the time. Um, if you're, I don't know. We can talk about this later, I guess, but it depends on what you want from this series, I guess.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Um, and clearly, if you play the sequels after this, Suda does not care what you want. But this series, he cares what he wants from this series.
Interesting.
So yeah, from then we have a cutscene. So usually in in the first two games, Sylvia will call you and be like, Travis, I've set up the next fight. You can go kill a dude or whatever. And that happens like multiple times. So this next one, Travis is on the phone with Sylvia, and then somebody rings the doorbell, and it's Sylvia, and she has come to visit him. And there's like this romance thing that starts happening, which I feel like is like it's not out of the blue because they had a bit of it in the first game, even if it turns out Sylvia's con artist. They had like a bit of it blooming in some cutscenes in the first game, especially like there's one where like they're on a date. They're like, see that magician guy and stuff, and they like kiss behind like a curtain. So it's like not uncommon for this to happen, but like I feel like here it was just kind of out of the blue for them to have this like romance plot again. Um, but whatever. So and then Sylvia comes in, and Travis finally does it, dude. Our boy does it. He gets laid, which is also a very funny scene because he lets her in. He lets her into the motel, and then the screen starts shaking, and you hear like gun pops, like, and then like the sign starts falling off the motel, and
Yeah.
then Travis opens the door, and he's like, "Downward, fucking dog!" And then it's like, he did it. He's a man now. um, anyway, Travis fucked. Let's move on. You want to move on to the last fight?
Let's do
You
it.
ready?
Jasper
It's
Bat Jr.
Well, before we get to Jasper Bat Jr., we have to climb Bat Tower, Bat Pizza, Pizza Bat Tower, which is a fine stage. I think it's a lot of enemies coming your way. But I think I did have fun with it because I challenged myself for this last stage. I only used the peony weapon, which is slow, but it has a lot of range. So I like had to use that for all the goons, which was kind of fun to do. I did find out that if the peony is really strong, and if you like build up your ecstasy gauge and then use it, it deals crazy amount of damage. Like just like
Okay.
chunks of health bar like coming off. So and I even used it for the last fight too. Um, so you work your way up Bat Tower and you get up there, and I think this is just like the first game, one of the most deflating moments in video games because the entire game has been building up this revenge plot where revenge has been the focus of Travis and his enemies, including the characters coming back for the first game, and it's just revenge has been a big theme. And then you get up to the top of the tower, you're ready to take your revenge, and he crashes through the door, and who does he meet? Fucking this guy.
Not what you were
This
expecting?
guy. He doesn't look like the guy who masterminded a revenge plot. He looks like the mascot of a pizza company.
Okay.
He's the fucking CEO.
I don't know. I mean, I'm
Fucking this
kind of
guy.
used to being thrown that it wasn't like that jarring. Did you really think it
I
was?
don't know.
You didn't like it?
No. I love it. But the first time I played, I was like expecting something else. I wasn't expecting it to be this little dweeb guy with like buck teeth and a big nose, and it was like, Thomas, you don't
Okay.
think you can kill without suffering consequences or whatever, because it's so stupid.
Yeah. Okay.
And again, I think I honestly think this was Suda being like, remember the revenge plot of the entire game. Yeah, I'm just gonna flush that down the toilet because you're fighting this guy. um, yeah. So for the first time in No More Heroes history, we have a 3-phase boss battle. Um, the first phase, you fight Jasper Bat Jr. in his little chair thing, chair car,
Clever fight.
and he flies around the room. Yeah. You have to counter him,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool. That's how you get through that's something that like not any of the other fights have done. So the first time you do it, it's easy to not understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
So you fight him in his little car chair, and part of the way through that fight, Henry shows up, and Henry's there, and Henry's going to help you. And, oh yeah, I do love when the cutscene starts and he brings out all the plates, and it has like Sylvia and Henry and Shinobu's like heads on platters, and it's like, yeah, now your life has no meaning. And Travis is like, no, and then then like halfway through the fight, Henry shows up and he's like, "They're just replicas." It's like great. I'm glad all that levity's gone. I'm glad there's no meaning to any of this now.
And that sums up my views of the game. That scene specifically
Yeah,
was like that was the whole game in its encapsulation. Is we're adding these moments where, you know, in a normal game or normal movie, like these things would be parts of it where your character would develop, and we're literally gonna flush it down the toilet. Like it literally none of it mattered and none of it happened. And
it
it's,
takes balls, though. I think to do that.
I mean, yeah, but what that's what I mean is like that's the point of the game to me. Is that
Yeah,
none of it matters. Like none of it is. It's like all of it is pointless. So
like, could you imagine? While I was playing it, I was thinking of like other games. The most recent game I've played that has this thick of a like revenge theme is The Last of Us 2.
mhm.
Could you imagine that, like, if at towards the end of Last of Us 2, like Joel just showed up, he was like, "I'm fine, Ellie,
Yeah, it would be
I'm
terrible.
okay."
It
Yeah, it's like you can't pull that off.
would be terrible, but because that's not what the game is. But this game, I think, is still the first game. But it's
Yeah,
like they pushed it a little bit harder, where they're like, "Don't you think you should care about these characters? Shouldn't they have growth?" And then at the very end, they're like, "No, like none,
nah, nah,
nah, yeah, it's all gone."
nah.
It's like he has stakes, right? Because now, like, we killed everybody that means anything to him. Just kidding, we didn't. And it's
We
like
didn't do it.
yeah, like that to me. It's transitioned from, and I don't think it ever was necessarily Travis, who didn't mean anything and didn't. Um, I think it's literally the game doesn't mean anything. And in this one, they use Travis to say like, could it mean something? Maybe, but not this game. And they just take it all away. And I think that whole scene was just like the theme of the game to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I think it is cool that Henry's here, and it's like juxtaposes the first game. The end of the first game, you fought Henry to the death, and then I mean obviously not to the death. But, you know,
Clearly,
it was
yeah.
supposed to be, it was like insinuated to the death in the first game. And then now Henry is helping you fight your final boss.
Mhm.
So you beat Jasper for the first phase, and then he like injects himself with this stuff and becomes like a superhero. He looks even more like a mascot now because he
Mhm.
looks like a stupid mascot superhero. He found like on a cereal box.
Yeah.
And you fight him. This fight can be tough. He has some tough
It's
grapples.
very hard. Very
Yeah,
hard.
yeah, yeah. Did he ever? I think he didn't get me, so I didn't get to see the animation. I think there's like a one hit kill animation.
Well, if he knocks you out the window.
That's what it was. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the window. It didn't happen this time. The one I kept getting was the one where it grapples you, spins you around on his finger. I kept getting that shit. But no, the window. Yeah. So I did remember that there was a one hit kill somewhere in there.
Yeah. It happened to me a couple times. So you just have to learn to fight away from the window. And then yeah, that grapple again. Those things are pretty telegraphed. So you got the red color. You just look for it and then you roll away. So it's pretty easy to dodge them, but they did hit me a couple of times. That was in wrestling. I think that's called a blue thunder bomb. Obviously, you don't spin them on your finger, but what it turns into is like that power bomb, sit down power bomb. A lot of obviously, and just like the first one, a lot of wrestling references, which is cool.
Yeah.
I know he loves wrestling and anime. Two things.
Just like Spencer.
Just like-
And so yeah, after you beat this version of Jasper Bett Jr., Travis does a fucking badass drop kick and he, like kicks him through the window. What a fucking awesome moment that was. He like kicks him through the window, and he's like, "That's a wrap." And then Henry's like, "I don't think so." And then and then Jasper comes back as a fucking Macy's Thanksgiving Day balloon.
Yeah.
Parade balloon. Knocks the top of the building off. So, and then I love that moment because Henry is like, "All right, I'm out." And then Travis is like, "What? Aren't you going to stay and fight?" And he was like, "I can't be a part of this travesty." And just leaves. Just like, okay, see ya. then you have your final fight, and I love the fact that even though this has gotten so stupid at this point, like this is one of
Yeah.
the dumbest moments in any like final boss fight. I love the fact that Travis is still playing it straight
Yeah.
to this part because he's like he like the because like even the balloon can't even talk now. He's like,
Mhm.
but I love the fact that like Travis is like like his line here was like, "Come on, Prez, give me all your anger, all your hate. I'll take it and fucking kill you with it." I was like, he's still in. He's my boy, still in. Fight this guy. So you have a fight with the Thanksgiving Day balloon. Um, I don't know. This phase of the fight I think is just funny.
Yeah.
The phase itself isn't that great because it like mimic to me it mimics a lot of other games that have done the style fight before. I think of God of War 2, one of the first areas in God of War 2, you fight a boss just like this, like on a platform, and she's huge, and you fight her. So it's like to me, it's like this has been done a million times, but like I don't think that's the point. I think the point is just the fact that like this is your final boss, and it's stupid.
Yeah.
It's a big balloon. It's a big float guy. So whatever. You slash him. You can if you parry one of his laser attacks, he can get knocked down, and you can start really slashing his nose and stuff, and get him real good.
Yeah.
But that's it. Travis does it. He kills. He wins. He has a cutscene where he jumps out the window and he realizes he can't fly for a second, so he's like, "Oh shit!" And then and then he I guess runs up the side of the balloon and like slices him in half, and he did it. He got his revenge.
Yeah.
Yay! Yay!
Sylvia rescues him
Yeah, I don't know how, but yeah,
on a motorcycle. She
yeah,
catches him.
yeah. But he was falling from pretty high up.
Oh. Oh yeah.
But at this point, again, who the fuck cares?
Right. Right.
Yeah,
That's the
she drops him
theme.
off back at the yeah, she drops him off back at the motel, and then we actually do get like a final moment, like a kind of cool final moment where the whole time Sylvia's been in that booth like talking and stuff. She's revealed that like the guy that shows up never says a word to her, and like he just shows up to like hear her stories, and like she talks about how they're closing that day and stuff, and like she wants to know who he is, and it's revealed it's Travis that's been going there every day to hear her talk. And then he like tells her, he's like, "Let's go, Sylvia. Santa Destroy needs us." And it's like a little kind of touching final moment. I don't think it matters that much in terms of a story, but I think it's cute to kind of wrap up that like little narrative that was happening there.
Mm.
I don't know. I liked it. That was cool. And that's how I feel about a lot of this game. um, I liked it and I thought it was cool.
Very good.
Yeah. Here we are.
Well, that's No More Heroes 2, Desperate Struggle.
Yeah. Yeah. What are your overall takeaways? What are your thoughts?
It's memorable.
Yeah.
I think I'm more curious to understand what other people, because I haven't played the other ones, but what like all the fans think of these games. I don't know. I think I like the first one more. I
Oh
definitely.
no, I do. At one point when this game first came out, I thought I liked two more because it was like wackier and it had like more action and stuff. But like as I've grown older, I've come to appreciate the first game a lot more because while it was wacky and had a lot of action, it was like it had a lot of like subdued moments, right? And it was like there was like moments of brevity in the first game that you come to appreciate.
Yeah.
And in the second game to me, and this was like kind of mirroring a lot of what Grasshopper was doing at this time, it felt like Grasshopper had the success of No More Heroes 1 and we're just kind of like labeled as like the wacky guys, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of rolled with it, you know. And we're like, okay, well then we'll be the wacky guys. And so I feel like that's a lot of, and trust me, whenever it hits, it's funny. But I feel like that's what like a lot of the second game is to me, is them being like, all right, well, you want to see us be the wacky studio? We'll be the wacky studio,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And you lost some of that like brevity that the first game had, where you get to experience like the character and the world, and it the first game kind of the first game feels like a place, like a real like Sand of the Story felt like a real tangible place, and in No More Heroes 2 it feels like a fever dream.
I mean, I don't even think Santa Destroy feels like anything. It's just a menu.
Yeah,
I
that's what I'm
think
saying. Yeah.
I don't know if I'd call it a fever dream. I would call it like
Oh,
a um a means to an end or something. I don't know, like a tool.
yeah.
Whereas yeah, it felt like this is gonna sound really fucking lame, but
Um,
in the first one, it felt like one of the characters.
It was no, you're right. It was because like even whenever that's what also like there's things like the Akashic points and stuff in this game that kind of ruin it for me for that reason. Because in the first game, even though you were like an assassin going to kill another assassin in this epic fight, you were like taking the bus,
Yeah,
or you were going through a high school, or you were going to a baseball stadium. It was like lame locations that a city would have.
yeah,
It's like you weren't going to like these fantasy worlds or anything crazy. You were going to like the most mundane places in the city. And for that reason, it kind of like endears you to it, right?
hmm
And that is significantly lost in this game.
yeah, no doubt. But you know, I guess it was just like more of the first game, but less so, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. I still like it. I think it's the worst one, but I still like it. um yeah, I don't know. We've been going this is a decently long episode, isn't it?
Very long.
How long is it?
2 hours and 40 minutes.
Damn! Damn! We talked about No More Heroes 2 for a while.
Yeah.
Well, uh, if this podcast was No More Heroes 2, Spencer, how would we end it?
I'd blow a balloon
Yeah.
and then slowly deflate it.
Uh, let us know in the comments what you thought about No More Heroes 2. If you want to see us continue on, probably not this year, but at some point we might do Travis Strikes Again and 3 down the road. So let us know if you would like to see us continue on our wacky adventure with Travis.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Bye.